Chapter 827 Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Dr. Unscrupulous Consort. I've got my eye on the Bailey girl. Bailey Hongzhuang's luck is really enviable. As long as she can become Master Chen's disciple, she will be famous in the future. Yeah, we don't have the good luck of Bailey Hongzhuang. Gu Yaoi and others' eyes flickered with a glint of envy or jealousy. If Bailey Hongzhuang hadn't grabbed their limelight in the alchemy competition, maybe the disciples of Master Chen would have been them. Wei Hanyun's face was even more ugly. This was also one of his goals. As long as he finds a famous master, his future will take a prosperous path, but now it has been snatched away by Bailey Hongzhuang. However, as soon as Chen Yu finished speaking, Lin Hao's voice rang out, "Elder Chen, it's not very kind of you to do this." Lin Hao gave Chen Yu a discontented look. He had not expected Chen Yu to move so quickly, actually wanting to take Bailey Hongzhuang as a disciple first. Like Chen Yu, he has always wanted to accept a disciple, but he had never found a suitable candidate. He likes Bailey Hongzhuang overall. Bailey Hongzhuang's talent and character are first class. He immediately accepted his fondness for a disciple, and he naturally couldn't allow her to be taken away by Chen Yu. "Bailey girl, this old guy, Chen Yu, is not as good as me. Why don't you become my disciple? Lin Hao, why do you like to compete with me in everything?" Chen Yu looked at Lin Hao with dissatisfaction. He finally managed to find such a good disciple. And Lin Hao wants to rob him? Absolutely impossible. What do you mean by that? This is something I've been thinking about for a while. You just spoke up a few minutes earlier than me. There was a bit of displeasure on Chen Yu's face. He turned to look at Bailey Hongzhuang again, but with a smile on his face. "Don't pay attention to this old guy, girl Bailey. I'm better than this old guy." Seeing Chen Yu and Lin Hao vying against each other, the jaws of the student onlookers couldn't help but drop. Their eyes filled with disbelief. What are they seeing? In the past, alchemists wanted to be disciples of Master Chen and Master Lin but couldn't. Now it turns out that it is Master Chen and Master Lin competing to be the Bailey Hongzhuang's teacher? This world is too fantastical. Why are all the good things going to Bailey Hongzhuang? Xia Jiqing and the others also smiled while sighing. At Chen Yu and Lin Hao's age, they were able to fight over Bailey Hongzhuang, which shows how much they value Bailey Hongzhuang. "You two old fellows, I've got my eye on the Bailey girl." At this moment, Chu Jio's words stunned Chen Yu and Lin Hao. They had forgotten that Chu Jio had also been looking for a suitable disciple. The two of them had liked Chu Jio for many years, and since Chu Jio spoke up, they had no choice but to reluctantly give up. Seeing this scene, everyone who knew the inside story couldn't help laughing. Chu Jio and the three of them were usually high and mighty, but now they are competing for one apprentice. How great was Bailey Hongzhuang's face. Bailey Hongzhuang did not expect such a situation and was not even allowed to speak. Several masters had already made their own decisions. Just as Bailey Hongzhuang was about to speak, Bai Jingtian and the others also came over. Seeing the three, including Bai Jingtian, Bailey Hongzhuang had a look of surprise in her eyes. She had never imagined that the inscription master she saw in Wubao Pavilion would also be in Lingyin Academy today. What kind of weirdness is this? Without waiting for Bailey Hongzhuang to say hello, Bai Jingtian looked at Chu Jio and other two and said, "What are you robbing? Bailey girl is really promising for the path of inscription master. Alchemy is a complete waste of her talent." Bai Jingtian had a reluctant expression on his face. They came from the Wubao Pavilion specifically for Bailey Hongzhuang. But Chu Jio and the others actually wanted to take the lead in snatching Bailey Hongzhuang away. That was absolutely impossible. As Bai Jingtian's voice fell, Chu Jio and the others were also stunned. What was Bai Jingtian saying? "Elder Bai, are you not mistaken? Bailey Hongzhuang is clearly a genius alchemist. What does she have to do with being an inscriptionist?" Chen Jianyu looked at Bai Jingtian in confusion. How amazing was Bailey Hongzhuang's performance in the alchemy competition today? Inscription has nothing to do with it at all. Only Chu Jio vaguely understood. Previously, she felt that Bai Jingtian and the other two paid special attention to Bailey Hongzhuang. Now it seems that they really came for Bailey Hongzhuang. It's just, Bailey Hongzhuang's alchemy technique is so superb. How could she be associated with the inscription technique? Is it possible that Bailey Hongzhuang can do both? When this idea came to Chu Jio's mind, she thought it was ridiculous, It was simply impossible. As a cultivator, Bailey Hongzhuang's attainment in alchemy is already extremely impressive. If Bailey Hongzhuang can also write inscriptions, there is no way in the world such a thing exists. How could I be wrong? We've been looking for Bailey Girl for a few days. Bailey Girl's future in inscription is definitely better than her future in alchemy. Bai Jingtian puffed up his chest, his face reflecting the hardships of life, full of seriousness and perseverance. How can an alchemist be as rare as an inscriber? The question that the three old guys couldn't figure out, Bailey Hongzhuang could actually solve in one sentence. So it was clear that Bailey Hongzhuang's attainment in inscriptions was not lower than theirs at all. What kind of talent is this? At first they found it hard to believe, but now they accepted the fact that there is such an existence in this world. Elder Bai is right. Girl Bailey is definitely a genius inscriptionist. Ji Yuma also spoke out. Although they normally have a good relationship with Chani Yu and the others, at a time like this, they were in the inscription master's camp. Everyone in the room was completely petrified. Who are Bai Jingtian and Ji Yuma? They are real inscription masters. Everyone in the room wants their inscriptions, but the three inscription masters rarely took action, and buying inscriptions is more difficult than buying pills. But now they are all vying to make Bailey Hongzhuang their disciple? Who is Bailey Hongzhuang? Why does all the good luck come to Bailey Hongzhuang? My God, isn't Bailey Hongzhuang a cultivator? Why does she know how to refine pills and inscribe? A cultivator spoke out in a daze. From the conversation with Bai Jingtian and others, he was able to understand that Bailey Hongzhuang's attainments in the art of inscription is also amazing. How can there be such a strange person in this world? How can we compare to her? Inscriptionist, Bailey Hongzhuang is also an inscriptionist? I finally understand why Bailey Hongzhuang was able to take out so many inscriptions yesterday. She is an inscriptionist. With these words, everyone suddenly realized that the inscription that Xue Haoling had been showing off was actually painted by Bailey Hongzhuang. Chapter 829 Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort. This is definitely a blow. Xue Haoling, who was already hit hard, almost spat out a mouthful of blood after hearing about it. This is definitely a blow. A blatant blow. He was so proud of an inscription, but Bailey Hongzhuang was the one who made the inscription. Thanks to his previous mocking of Bailey Hongzhuang, didn't he slap his own face? He even broke everyone's trust for this inscription from Bailey Hongzhuang. As soon as he thought of this, Xue Haoling's face burned with embarrassment. In this life, he's afraid that he will never have the face to meet Bailey Hongzhuang. He had never been so humiliated. Xue Haoling didn't stay to watch the excitement. Otherwise it would only allow everyone to freely make fun of him. At that moment, Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi also noticed what was happening between Bailey Hongzhuang and the others. When they heard what Bai Jingtian and others were arguing about, their faces reflected shock and dismay. The news that Bailey Hongzhuang is not only a cultivator but also an alchemist had given them a huge shock. And now the news that Bailey Hongzhuang is also an inscriptionist has come out. What was this all about? Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang had already started learning while in her mother's womb? As principals of their academies, they have seen many outstanding students, but they had never seen a student as perverse as Bailey Hongzhuang. With the identity of Bai Jingtian and others, it is naturally impossible for them to lie, because there's no need. Both Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi were envious of Kanglin Academy. Originally, Kanglin Academy was already weak, but they did not expect them to recruit a talented student like Bailey Hongzhuang. Is it possible to turn the tide with the power from one person? Is this God's will? Huan Qiyu was no less surprised than Jian Qingqiu. This whole time he only knew that Bailey Hongzhuang was an alchemist, but he had never heard that she had made great achievements in inscriptions. Bailey Hongzhuang's talent was hidden deeply. He couldn't even imagine what Bailey Hongzhuang's master was like. The energy and resources spent to cultivate a disciple like Bailey Hongzhuang must be enormous. The eyes of Xia Jiqing and the others reflected disbelief. They were so familiar with Hongzhuang but didn't know that Bailey Hongzhuang was an inscriber. Although Bailey Hongzhuang's performance at the Wubao Pavilion showing that she knew about inscriptions shocked them that day, they never thought that Bailey Hongzhuang could be an inscription master. Because it's so unbelievable. Although Bailey Hongzhuang had given them so many inscriptions yesterday, they still didn't think of this. However, this unbelievable situation turned out to be true. What kind of beast is this teammate they have known for so long? The dark inky eyes flashed a strange color after the always calm Emo Yunjue found out about this. Emo Yunjue's lips curled slightly. It seemed that he constantly underestimated Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang watched the several seniors arguing over her, and a bit of helplessness surfaced on her charming face. Seniors. As soon as Bailey Hongzhuang spoke up, the four, including Bai Jingtian, stopped arguing and looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. They wanted to know what Bailey Hongzhuang's thoughts were. Facing the 6 pairs of eyes staring at her, Bailey Hongzhuang could only bite the bullet and say, "Thank you for your acceptance, seniors, but I do not have plans to accept a master." As soon as these words emerged, everyone was stunned again. How could Bailey Hongzhuang refuse such a good opportunity? Chapter 830 Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor Unscrupulous Consort Rejected? Bailey Hongzhuang's delicate and beautiful face was slightly apologetic as she knew what was best for her in her heart. With her previous achievements in alchemy, she didn't need a master at all. As for the inscription technique, she only needed to learn from the old man in the Chaos Ring. Whether it was Chu Jio and the other alchemists or Bai Jingtian and the other inscription masters, they had already put down roots in the Qingshao Kingdom. It is impossible for her to stay in Qingshao Kingdom. Not to mention she didn't have the slightest affection for Qingshao Kingdom. The actions of just Nangong Yujin and Nangong Shijie disgusted her, and she will leave Qingshao Kingdom after the Academy Exchange competition is over. Therefore, it is impossible for her to apprentice here. Listening to Bailey Hongzhuang's words, Bai Jingtian, Ji Yunma and Qin Qinggu all had smiles on their faces. "Bailey girl, you did the right thing," Bai Jingtian exclaimed. Bailey Hongzhuang was taken aback, not understanding what Bai Jingtian meant. The 3 of alchemists also frowned. In their opinion, as long as they were willing to accept a disciple, they wouldn't refuse, but Bailey Hongzhuang refused decisively. The people who were originally envious of Bailey Hongzhuang now only felt that Bailey Hongzhuang was a fool after hearing her answer. Bailey Hongzhuang actually gave up such a good opportunity. Only a fool would refuse. Bailey Hongzhuang is too arrogant. She chose to give up such a good opportunity. She will definitely regret it in the future. In my opinion, she is proud and arrogant. She doesn't know how stupid she is. This is also a good thing. This kind of person isn't worthy of Master Chan and the others' consideration. The cultivators of Lingyin Academy all gloated. They were previously envious when they saw Bailey Hongzhuang's good luck. Now that Bailey Hongzhuang has given up this opportunity herself, they are in the same position again. However, what Bai Jingtian said next stunned everyone again, and their faces grew even uglier. Bailey girl's inscription skills are so superb. Even the 3 of us agree that we can't be Bailey girl's masters, and can only forge a long-term friendship between equals. Bai Jingtian glanced at the Chu Jio and the others. "You 3 old guys want to be Bailey girl's master. What are you trying to do?" Chu Jio and the other 2 were stunned. In their opinion, even if Bailey Hongzhuang is a genius, her ability in inscriptions is at best comparable to her ability in alchemy. Now Bai Jingtian actually said that Bailey Hongzhuang's inscription skills are at the same level as theirs. So how powerful are Bailey Hongzhuang's inscription skills? Although Bai Jingtian and the other 2 have very strange temperaments, they also know that they never lie. Since they say this, then it's the truth. At that moment, Chu Jio and the others were no longer displeased by Bailey Hongzhuang's rejection. Bailey Hongzhuang is already a master of inscriptions. How could they still accept Bailey Hongzhuang as a disciple? They can only be equal with Bailey Hongzhuang. Lin Hao felt that this was too unbelievable, so he couldn't help asking Elder Ji, "Is what Elder Bai said true?" Ji Yunma nodded without hesitation. "Yes, the Bailey girl solved a problem that had been plaguing us a few days ago with one sentence." Lin Hao and others were shocked. It seemed that they still underestimated Bailey Hongzhuang. She can actually direct Ji Yunma and the others. How terrifying is this? Telling the truth but no one believes it? For a while, the look in everyone's eyes changed again as they stared at Bailey Hongzhuang. At Bailey Hongzhuang's age, she can be called an inscription master. How could there be such a pervert in the world? Bailey Hongzhuang also did not expect Ji Yunma and the others to misunderstand her ability. In fact, she is only proficient in the configuration of the inscription liquid, and she is a true beginner in drawing inscriptions. Who let Ji Yunma and others debate that day about the configuration of the inscription liquid? She has studied with the old man of the chaos ring for so long, and has only mastered the configuration of the inscription liquid. The old man of the chaos ring obviously intended to have Bailey Hongzhuang learn the basics by starting with the configuration of the inscription liquid. Who would have thought that such a misunderstanding would occur? Ji Lao, it's not like you've said. My inscription skills are actually... Not waiting for Bailey Hongzhuang to finish speaking, Ji Yunma said. Now you know how strong Bailey Hongzhuang's inscription skills are, right? If she studies the inscription technique wholeheartedly, her future will be limitless. Hearing this, Chu Jio and the others looked at each other. They were amazed by Bailey Hongzhuang's ability in alchemy, but they had no way to refute what Ji Yunma said. Inscription technique should be the direction of Bailey Hongzhuang's development. Actually, my inscription skills are not that good. Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but say. It's just that at such a moment, no one believed what Bailey Hongzhuang said and only thought Bailey Hongzhuang was being modest. Bailey girl, don't be humble. It just so happens that we old guys still have a few questions to ask you for advice about inscriptions. If you have time now, can you come to Wubao Pavilion with us? Qin Qinggu smiled broadly. They came to Bailey Hongzhuang this time so that they could have a good discussion on inscription techniques. Inscriptions are like this. It is easy for one person to get cornered when studying it alone, and only when everyone is together can they open their minds. With Bailey Hongzhuang's strength, she will surely be able to bring them considerable gains. Elder Qin, my inscription skills are really not that good. Bailey Hongzhuang said helplessly. If the discussion is about the configuration of the inscription liquid, it is fine, but if it's about how to draw inscriptions, then she is really a beginner. This girl is too modest. Bai Jingtian chuckled, not believing Bailey Hongzhuang's words at all. He turned around and said to Chu Jio and the others, we have some questions to ask Bailey girl, so we'll leave first. Bailey Hongzhuang could not stop Bai Jingtian's enthusiasm no matter how she argued. Bai Jingtian and the others had obviously decided that she was hiding deeply. Bailey Hongzhuang was very helpless. No one believed the truth. After Bailey Hongzhuang was pulled away by Bai Jingtian and the others, only Xia Jiqing and her group were left blowing in the wind. The students of Lingyin Academy only felt that the world had gone crazy. Bailey Hongzhuang was actually an inscription master. How can this be endured? The alchemy competition thus came to an end, but Huan Chuyu obviously wouldn't let the existence of Wei Hanyun go. He would definitely grab hold of this issue. Therefore, the three principals deliberated for a while. When Huan Chuyu walked out, a satisfied smile appeared on his face. Obviously, the three principals must have reached an agreement. Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi had extremely ugly expressions on their faces. In this alchemy competition, they really lost their wives and lost their soldiers. TL/N. Idiom means to suffer a double loss after trying to trick the enemy. Breakthrough Gong Shaoqing. When Bailey Hongzhuang came back from the Wubao Pavilion, she was surrounded by Xia Jiqing and the others. Sensing the dissatisfied gazes of Xia Jiqing and the others, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but say, what are you thinking? Xia Jiqing smiled and said with narrowed eyes, Hongzhuang, you are hiding too deeply. You have kept us in the dark. If it weren't for Master Bai and the others speaking up about this, we would not have found out this information. Zhang Yunfeng continued. You didn't ask me either. Bailey Hongzhuang opened her hands out innocently. She never planned to hide it, but she wouldn't deliberately tell everyone that she was an inscriptionist. That would just be showing off. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's innocent appearance, everyone was helpless. Who would think to ask such a question? No matter, anyway, it was wrong of you to conceal this. We are very vindictive. Xia Jiqing said with a smile. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze swept across Xia Jiqing and the others one by one, and slowly said, so are you planning to return my inscriptions to me? When this was asked, the faces of Xia Jiqing and the others all changed slightly, and they immediately took a step back. It's getting late. I'd better go back to cultivate first. Xia Jiqing was the first to bolt. She had already used the inscription Hongzhuang gave her. Jiqing is right, I'm going to go back and cultivate properly. Zhang Yunfeng also slipped away immediately. They already used them, so how could they return these treasures to Bailey Hongzhuang? Soon after, everyone left one after the other. Only Gong Shaoqing was still standing in place. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her phoenix eyes slightly. And she silently asked herself, could it be that Gong Xiaoqing wanted to return the inscription to her? I'm also going back to rest. I have to participate in the finals tomorrow. After saying this, Gong Xiaoqing also disappeared in front of Bailey Hongzhuang. Seeing this scene, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but laugh softly. She felt really happy to have met such a group of friends. The next day, just as the day dawned, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others got up. Today was the finals of the cultivator competition, and it is also the most important round of this academy exchange competition. After everyone gathered, Huan Qiyu led everyone towards the royal competition arena. The last final would be held at the royal competition arena, which will attract a lot of attention. The emperor of Qingxiao Kingdom, as well as royal relatives and other powerful people will be there in person. Ordinary civilians are no longer allowed to watch this competition, and it is for this reason that everyone attaches great importance to it. Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze fell on Gong Xiaoqing, and a look of surprise appeared on her pretty face. Gong Xiaoqing, have you broken through? She clearly felt that Gong Xiaoqing's breath was much stronger than before. He had clearly broken through from the late mysterious realm to the innate realm. Gong Xiaoqing nodded slightly. It's just a fluke that I just broke through. Bailey Hongzhuang took a deep look at Gong Xiaoqing. She knew how much importance Gong Xiaoqing attached to this final. From the moment Dongfang Yu was hit, Gong Xiaoqing's heart had been extremely subdued. Taking this opportunity to finally break through to the innate realm would be a great help for today's final. As Bailey Hongzhuang's voice fell, everyone looked at Gong Xiaoqing in surprise. This is great news. Chapter 833 Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor Unscrupulous Consort Breakthrough Third Stage Red Realm. Cui Haoyan looked at Gong Xiaoqing in amazement. He had always competed with Gong Xiaoqing, but he never thought that Gong Xiaoqing would break through to the innate realm earlier than him. Although he hadn't crossed into the innate realm, he understood that the gap between the mysterious realm and the innate red realm is not a minor step. It seems that he must improve his strength as soon as possible. He didn't want to lose out to Gong Xiaoqing. Bailey Hongzhuang, didn't you also break through to the third stage of the red realm? Lu Huayan turned around with a smile. Seeing that the students were able to make such progress put him in a good mood. Other students couldn't see it, but as a tutor, he was able to see Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Xiaoqing's progress with just a glance. It seems that both of them attach great importance to this final, and it is precisely because they place enough importance on it that they can break through. With Lu Huayan's question, everyone's eyes couldn't help but fall on Bailey Hongzhuang, not expecting her to have broken through again. Hongzhuang, your speed of improvement is too fast, it's too much for us. Zhang Yunfeng looked helpless. Bailey Hongzhuang was the youngest one among them, but he didn't expect her cultivation to be the fastest, which was really a blow. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled lightly. It's thanks to the Yuanli fruit I got in the ruins, otherwise I wouldn't have made such fast progress. With her talent in cultivation, the speed of cultivation would not be slow. It's just that the amount of time she has cultivated was shorter, so there was still a considerable distance to catch up. Zhang Yunfeng and others smiled. They understood that Bailey Hongzhuang was being modest. The ruins naturally helped her, but Bailey Hongzhuang was able to reach this level due to her own efforts. With Huan Qiyu leading, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others finally arrived at the royal competition arena. But after seeing the grandeur of the royal competition arena, everyone's eyes flashed with amazement. This royal competition arena is similar to a huge gladiatorial arena, with a giant square competition stage in the center made of extremely hard rock and surrounded by railings. Near the vicinity of the railing, Bailey Hongzhuang felt faint energy fluctuations. There was obviously a protective shield near the railing. Once the energy fluctuations on the competition stage are too great and are threatening, the shield will immediately activate to ensure that bystanders will not be affected. Around the competition stage is a circular stepped platform, and all the onlookers sit on the step platform to ensure that everyone can clearly see the battle on the competition stage. Currently, the stands was already full of spectators, and such a scene could only be described as spectacular. After Xia Jiqing and the others saw this scene, a look of astonishment appeared on their faces. The Qingxiao Kingdom's royal family is extraordinary. This competition arena is truly spectacular. Bai Junyu said with emotion. Gong Xiaoqing glanced coldly at the martial arts arena. This looks like watching a monkey perform tricks. Bailey Hongzhuang did not say anything, but she also agreed with what Gong Shaoqing said. The people sitting in the stands are all dignitaries of the Qingshao kingdom, and their final is just a show in the eyes of these people. She doesn't like this feeling, but many people like this feeling of being in the spotlight. Gear up, Baisher. Turning her gaze slightly, Bailey Hongzhuang noticed that Mo Yunjue was sitting in the stands. Dressed in black, understated and reserved, his black clothes were embroidered with a lifelike silver-threaded chrysanthemum. He sat quietly in the crowd and completely blended in, but if one sensed carefully, he seemed out of place. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang, the corners of Mo Yunjue's lips slowly curled up into a smile. This was his way of greeting. Bailey Hongzhuang returned a faint smile. Even though there were many things she didn't understand, she believed that Mo Yunjue was a friend and not an enemy. Cui Haoyan and the others also noticed where Mo Yunjue was, and raised their hands to Mo Yunjue. Mo Yunjue was their only friend in the Qingshao kingdom. The teams from the 3 major academies all arrived today, but only the 4 finalists participate in the competition. However, the royal family of Qingshao kingdom had not yet arrived, including the one who was praised by everyone, Nangong Aochen, who had not yet revealed himself. The royal family of the Qingshao kingdom is really arrogant. The finals are about to start, and they haven't shown up yet. Do they like to use such pomp and circumstance to prove their greatness? Xiaohe cocked his head. What he hates the most is the bone-deep arrogance of the royal family. No matter when or where, they are always the last to appear, as if this is the only way to prove how noble their status is. The royal family has always had bad practices, not to mention this Qingshao kingdom is a big kingdom, so it has always been like this. The corners of Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled slightly. She expected this kind of waiting. Even in Fengbue kingdom, which is a small kingdom, the royal family is also the last to appear. Isn't it just a royal family? What's the big deal? Xiaobai curled his lips. It was merely a royal family, and their arrogance was so huge. The arc of Bailey Hongzhuang's lips widened a bit. If anyone heard Xiaobai's remarks, their jaw would drop in shock. The royal family of a big kingdom is a great entity. However, she also understood Xiaobai's thoughts. In fact, in her previous life she never had the royal family in her considerations at all. With the power of the Bailey family, she could destroy a dynasty with just one thought. Of course, in this life she likewise didn't take all this seriously, but right now she does not have that kind of power. Baisher nestled in Bailey Hongzhuang's arms, its pair of soulful eyes constantly surveying the surroundings. It's a pity that it has no chance to fight with its wisdom and martial arts. However, it is said that Nangong Aochen also has a monster beast, so it might have a chance to play. Thinking of this, Baisher couldn't help but get excited. It finally had a chance to show its might. This group of uneducated fools always treats it like an ornamental beast. What a joke. He's a majestic beast king, okay? He wanted to take advantage of today to let these guys understand how powerful he is. Bailey Hongzhuang stroked Baisher's fur. She knew that this little guy couldn't help but want to express his thoughts. Speaking of which, Baisher, Beastmaster, has always been misunderstood by everyone. This must be unacceptable to this little guy. If he has the opportunity, he wanted to make a name for himself. Huan Qiyu had already rejoined Jian Qingqiu, but the faces of Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi no longer reflect yesterday's arrogance and disdain. Although Bailey Hongzhuang didn't know how Huan Qiyu resolved yesterday's incident, she believed that Huan Qiyu must have gained certain benefits for Kenglin Academy. Chapter 835 Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort, have you seen him? However, the damage was done, and even though Wei Hanyun has disappeared, the interested parties knew the truth of the matter. As a result, the reputations of Lingyin Academy and Beihai Academy had been greatly affected. Lu Jingqi recovered and looked at Xia Jiqing with resentment. She previously resented Xia Jiqing, but now hates Xia Jiqing even more. However, she is not Xia Jiqing's opponent in terms of strength, so she can only use the gaze in her eyes to express her anger. In response, Xia Jiqing unconcernedly adjusted her hair, and a simple sentence left Lu Jingqi speechless: defeated enemy. After Xia Jiqing said this, she didn't even look at Lu Jingqi. Obviously, Lu Jingqi no longer posed any threat to her, so she didn't even look at her. The crowd did not have to wait long before the emperor of Qingshao Kingdom, Nangongui, walked over surrounded by the crowd. Everyone present stood up and bowed to him. Nangongui was about 45 years old. His handsome and cold face was filled with an emperor's majesty. His eyes were sharp and wise, as if just one look was full of infinite power. Despite showing the faint smile on his face, people could still not relax. The aura created over the years was evident with his every movement. The bright yellow gold robe was like a dazzling light, causing everyone to feel awe. Beside Nangongui, Nangong Yujin and Nangong Yuer also appeared. And beside the two of them, there was a handsome man who was particularly eye-catching. The man was wearing a light yellow luxurious brocade suit, with auspicious symbols woven with golden threads all over it, evincing a rich nobility. Obviously, this man is the crown prince of the Qingshao Kingdom, Nangong Aochin. Nangong Aochin's face was handsome and cold, perhaps due to his identity as the crown prince. His face always reflected seriousness, but this may just be his masculinity. The eyes of many women in the audience were attracted by Nangong Aochin. Nangong Aochin could be called the beloved of all the women in the Qingshao Kingdom, and the pride of the entire Qingshao Kingdom. Almost all the women hope that one day Nangong Aochin will look at them, but Nangong Aochin is completely different from Nangong Yujin. Nangong Yujin is a master of debauchery. Nangong Aochin devoted almost all his time and energy to business, and he didn't care about women. It was precisely because of Nangong Aochin's indifference that countless women wanted to throw themselves into his arms. This Nangong Aochin really looks very good. He looks handsome, and you can tell at a glance that he is not the same as Nangong Yujin, Zhang Yunfeng said as he looked at Nangong Aochin. He had heard about Nangong Aochin's great reputation earlier. Today he saw Nangong Aochin's person. Cui Haoyan raised his brows slightly, and directly put his arm around Zhang Yunfeng's shoulder. What? Have you taken a fancy to Nangong Aochin? As soon as these words came out, the eyes of Bailey Hongzhuang and others fell on Cui Haoyan. Zhang Yunfeng and Cui Haoyan had become a pair since the monster beast frenzy, but they had never seen Cui Haoyan say such explicit things. Ah! Zhang Yunfeng froze for a moment, and after feeling Cui Haoyan's burning gaze, he blushed slightly and he said, I haven't. Finals. The three academies. Seeing this scene, everyone smiled and looked at Zhang Yunfeng teasingly. What are you looking at me like that for? Zhang Yunfeng blushed and couldn't help but be annoyed. Bailey Hongzhuang chucked and shrugged. I just think you look good today and wanted to look at you more. Xia Jiqing also laughed. This is the first time I've seen you guys show your love so blatantly. Yunfeng, from now on, you can't say that other men are good in front of Cui Haoyan, or he will be jealous. As soon as these words came out, Zhang Yunfeng blushed even more, and looked at Xia Jiqing in embarrassment. As for Cui Haoyan's appearance, it was as if he had already surrendered. He didn't mind at all. Haha. Everyone laughed. They only had heartfelt blessings for Zhang Yunfeng and Cui Haoyan. Zhang Yunfeng beat Cui Haoyan with her pink fist. Cui Haoyan's appearance made her feel helpless. While everyone was laughing, Nangong Aoi had already sat down on his seat with a faint smile on his handsome and majestic face. As the Emperor of Qingshao Kingdom, I feel very honored that the exchange meeting of the three academies is being held here. I hope that the finalists can perform well. Nangong Aoi just said those few words and sat down. The purpose of coming here today is entirely to observe Nangong Aochin's performance. The entire royal competition arena was very quiet, and it was only after Nangong Aoi sat down that it relaxed slightly. With Nangong Aoi present, there was always a little more restraint and caution. After Nangong Aochin said something to Nangong Aoi, he, Nangong Yujin, and Nangong Yuer walked to the Lingyin Academy team. Today they were not representing the royal family, but the students of Lingyin Academy. I wonder if Nangong Aochin has found out who assassinated Nangong Xiujia? Xia Jiqing couldn't help saying after she suddenly thought of Nangong Xiujia. Everyone thought for a moment, the death of Nangong Xiujia might be a very sensitive matter in Qingshao Kingdom, but Nangong Aoi's face did not reveal any clues. My guess is that they can't figure it out. If he didn't think of a perfect plan, that person wouldn't dare to assassinate Nangong Xiujia. Bai Junyu said slowly, I don't see any sadness on the Emperor of Qingshao Kingdom's face. The assassination of Nangong Xiujia is already a great disgrace for the royal family, and the Emperor will naturally not reveal it. Gong Xiaoqing's eyes shone with wisdom, however, with the inconsistent affection in the royal family. His death is just a pretense and maybe he really doesn't care. Hearing this, everyone nodded in sympathy. The cold-bloodedness of royal family members is well known. There are an unknown number of siblings who have been assassinated for the throne. It is not easy to grow up safely in the royal family. Thinking about it, the princes and princesses of Nangong Oe must not be small in number. The death of Nangong Xiujia is only a pity and a short-term sadness. It will not have much impact. This is the sorrow of being a royal family member. Jian Qingqiu stood up slowly and swept his gaze over the surrounding crowd before opening his mouth. Today is the final of the exchange competition of the 3 major academies. There are 4 contestants: Lingyin Academy, Nangong Aochan; Beihai Academy, Shaolanmei; Kanglin Academy, Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Xiaoqing. Brother, avenge me. Although this result had been widely circulated in Qingshao Kingdom 2 days ago, many people still didn't know about it. When they heard that the least favored Kanglin Academy had 2 places, the audience was still surprised. In the previous academy exchange meetings, Lingyin Academy was the champion. But now Lingyin Academy only had Nangong Aochan in the finals, and Nangong Aochan has entered the finals without fighting. For a while, there were significantly more gazes on the Kanglin Academy cultivators, but they were still confident. The mere existence of Nangong Aochan had already determined the outcome of this final. Brother, that woman is Bailey Hongzhuang. Nangong Yuer said to Nangong Aochan as she pointed at Bailey Hongzhuang, who she still absolutely hates. Although she was defeated by Bailey Hongzhuang, what kind of person is Nangong Aochan? As long as Nangong Aochan strikes, Bailey Hongzhuang will only fail. Brother, you must avenge me. Nangong Yuer had an angry look on her face. Since she was a child, no one has dared to hurt her like that. She wants Bailey Hongzhuang to die. Hearing this, Nangong Aochan glanced at Nangong Yuer, and then his eyes fell on Bailey Hongzhuang. Amazement flashed across the calm gaze after landing on Bailey Hongzhuang, but it soon returned to calm. Brother, this Bailey Hongzhuang's strength is indeed good. But she dared to humiliate second brother like that. You must deal with her. Nangong Yujin also said aloud. His relationship with Nangong Xiujia had always been very good. Although Bailey Hongzhuang had nothing to do with Nangong Xiujia's death, he couldn't bear to see how Bailey Hongzhuang had humiliated Nangong Xiujia. This debt must be repaid. However, in the face of Nangong Yuer and Nangong Yujin's indignant expressions, Nangong Aochan's face remained serious, but did not show any anger. I will defend the dignity of the royal family, but you both know what you did. Nangong Aochan's words were filled with warning. He couldn't be clearer about Nangong Yujin's regular behavior. Since Nangong Xiujia was assassinated, he also understood clearly what happened to Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Xiujia at the first floor. In fact, the initial cause of this matter was entirely instigated by the Nangong Xiujia duo, and the cultivators of Kanglin Academy were merely victims. Moreover, Dongfang Yu of Kanglin Academy has not appeared again, no doubt because Nangong Xiujia destroyed his self-confidence. If Nangong Xiujia hadn't gone so far, Bailey Hongzhuang would not have humiliated Nangong Xiujia. Listening to Nangong Aochan's words of reprimand, Nangong Yujin and Nangong Yuer's expressions were somewhat ugly. They also clearly understand Nangong Aochan's character. They have always been viewed as part of the group and not as relatives. It is because of this that it is difficult for them to get close to Nangong Aochan. However, Bailey Hongzhuang's humiliation of Nangong Xiujia is an insult to the dignity of the royal family. Nangong Aochan will not let Bailey Hongzhuang go. They just need to know this, and that is enough. Sensing Nangong Aochan's gaze, Bailey Hongzhuang did not shy away from it. The 2 gazes met in midair, sparks flashing, and returned to indifference after understanding. Bailey Hongzhuang felt calmness in Nangong Aochan's gaze. The gentleman was open and honest, without hiding anything. Wonderful lottery result. At that moment, Bailey Hongzhuang also understood what Mo Yunjua meant about Nangong Aochan being a gentleman. and thought that this Nangong Ouchin was probably the calmest person she had ever met so far. His eyes were clear and peaceful, without the slightest obscurity or concealment, like a black chrysanthemum, indifferent but fair. It seems that the rumors about Qingshao Kingdom were not wrong. Nangong Ouchin is indeed the most outstanding prince of Qingshao Kingdom. The 4 participants in the final will take turns fighting each other, and the one who wins the most times will be in the final. There is no rest time during the competition, so it is best to stop as soon as possible. Jian Qingqiu slowly explained the rules of the final to everyone. Each of the 4, including Bailey Hongzhuang, will fight against the other 3 in turn. This method is the fairest, reducing the possibility of opportunism. Now, the 4 students will come up to the stage to draw lots to determine the order of the competition. Following Jian Qingqiu's words, Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Shaoqing walked towards the 3 principals. Bailey Hongzhuang slowly drew out a slip of paper, on which was written the word 1. It seemed that she would be the first to enter the competition. Bailey Hongzhuang wasn't worried about her number. She would fight the 3 of them one by one in the end anyway. It didn't matter which round she started with. However, when Bailey Hongzhuang knew that her first opponent was Gong Shaoqing, a trace of dismay appeared in her eyes. The probability of this is really low. When Gong Shaoqing knew that his first opponent was Bailey Hongzhuang, a faint smile appeared in his eyes. No way, the 2 of you turned out to be opponents in the first match? What should we do? Xia Jiqing was stunned. The best result would be for Gong Shaoqing and Bailey Hongzhuang to meet in the last match, but they did not expect to meet in the first match. It was really troublesome. Cui Haoyan and the others obviously did not expect such a situation. Since Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Shaoqing are both students of Kanglin Academy, it would naturally be best to not fight. It's just that the Academy exchange competition has a lot of gold rewards. If they can perform well in this exchange competition, it will be of great help to their future. Academy aside, everyone wants to win first place and become famous. In the past, the first place winners in the Academy exchange competition all became famous, had bright futures, and many forces directly offered olive branches. It is precisely because of this that they couldn't say anything. In the first match, Kanglin Academy's Bailey Hongzhuang versus Kanglin Academy's Gong Shaoqing. The referee's loud voice clearly reached everyone's ears in the royal competition arena. When the crowd heard the news, their expressions grew excited. Kanglin Academy seems to have bad luck. The first round is the battle between the cultivators of their own academy. If you don't fight, the student who admits defeat will definitely be viewed as questionable. No one is willing to lose such a good opportunity. If you do, you will undoubtedly consume the fighting power of your own academy, and you will be at a disadvantage when you fight against the other 2 academies later. The person who wins the first place will be the prince, it doesn't matter what they do. When Lu Huayan found out the result of the lottery, he was a little speechless. From the perspective of the academy, he naturally hoped that Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Shaoqing would not consume the combat power of their academy. From a personal perspective, this was indeed a good opportunity. Chapter 839 Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort I Forfeit. Bailey Hongzhuang's mind was full. She would never fight Gong Shaoqing. This would only reduce the chance of Kanglin Academy winning. She didn't care about becoming famous. If she conceded, Gong Shaoqing might have a chance of winning as long as she could defeat Xiao Lanmei and Nangong Ouchin. However, she does not have absolute confidence against Nangong Ouchin, because Nangong Ouchin's strength is not to be underestimated. Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Shaoqing stepped onto the high platform under the watchful eyes of the crowd. The moment they stepped onto the high platform, all the attention was on them. Curious gazes fell on the 2. They all wanted to know whether Bailey Hongzhuang and the other would make a move. The competition begins. The referee gave an order and waved his hand, starting the competition. Bailey Hongzhuang's red lips parted slightly. This competition. Not waiting for Bailey Hongzhuang to finish speaking, Gong Shaoqing's voice rang out, I forfeit. As soon as these words came out, everyone was in an uproar. They thought that Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Shaoqing might battle immediately regardless of the overall situation. Now it seems that neither Bailey Hongzhuang nor Gong Shaoqing is that kind of person. Kanglin Academy has good luck this time. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Gong Xiaoqing with a little surprise. She did not expect Gong Xiaoqing to forfeit immediately also. After all, this kind of honor is very important for the continuation of a cultivator's path. Gong Xiaoqing's handsome face was a bit carefree. In fact, he was shocked when he saw that Bailey Hongzhuang was about to forfeit. It was very clear to him that with his strength it would be impossible for him to win. And Bailey Hongzhuang is the Kanglin Academy's best hope. As long as Bailey Hongzhuang wins this battle without any yuanli consumption, it will be of great help to her. Although he values his own future, as a member of Kanglin Academy, he hoped to help Kanglin Academy out of its current predicament. If even Bailey Hongzhuang was willing to give up for this, then naturally he would do the same. Seeing the actions of Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Xiaoqing, everyone in Kanglin Academy was very moved. They understood when both were about to forfeit that both knew what they were willing to give up. At that moment they admired Gong Xiaoqing deeply. Although he conceded defeat this time, Gong Xiaoqing was a richly deserved hero of Kanglin Academy. The gazes of Lu Huayan and Huan Qiyu were also slightly complicated, but judging from the current situation, this was indeed the best path. The referee was not surprised by this result. In fact, there were quite a few people who chose to forfeit in previous academy exchange matches against cultivators from the same academy. Kanglin Academy Bailey Hongzhuang wins. With the referee's announcement, Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Xiaoqing looked at each other, smiled and walked off the competition stage together. The onlookers didn't feel that there was anything wrong with this. The battles between students of the same academy in exchange matches is not worth watching, and it would be great to start the second match earlier. Nangong Aochen looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with a hint of surprise in his eyes. He also had a certain understanding of Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Xiaoqing's situation. No matter whose point of view it is, Bailey Hongzhuang is stronger than Gong Xiaoqing. If a person was Bailey Hongzhuang, it would be impossible to choose to forfeit. Chapter 844 Contract Beast, Flame Lion. Although Xiao Lanmei's concession caused a lot of discussion, with the start of the third match the entire royal arena became quiet again. Third match, Nangong Aochen vs Gong Xiaoqing. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang and others' eyes fell on Gong Xiaoqing. This was a battle without much suspense. Even though Gong Xiaoqing successfully broke through to the Red Realm, it still pales in comparison to Nangong Aochen's 5th level strength in the Red Realm. It's not that Gong Xiaoqing's strength is not strong enough, but Nangong Aochen is really too perverted. After all, their cultivation conditions are not as good as Nangong Aochen, which is the reason for the cultivation gap. Gong Xiaoqing, go for it. Bailey Hongzhuang had a faint smile on her face. Even if it couldn't change the result, the competition was still a way to gain experience. Fighting against the strong often allows them to understand more about the power of the strong, which will be of great help for their cultivation. In her previous life, she competed with the masters of the family from time to time. From the initial route to later being able to persevere, this kind of progress often makes people feel more accomplishment. For cultivators, mindset is extremely important. Failure is not terrible, every cultivator will fail on the road forward. What is terrible is not daring to face failure. Go for it. Just show the Kanglin Academy spirit. Cui Haoyan shouted. In this case it was difficult knowing it would be a loss, but they wanted to encourage Gong Xiaoqing, so they could only offer such encouragement. Feeling everyone's goodwill, Gong Xiaoqing's iceberg-like face also melted a bit. Don't worry, I will do my best. After coming to Lingyin Academy and seeing the strength of Nangong Xiujia and others, he understood that although he was quite famous at Kanglin Academy, there was still a big gap with other cultivators. In fact, it is not without reason that Kanglin Academy has been at the bottom in the last 2 academy exchange competitions. With harder conditions, Kanglin Academy does have a considerable gap with the other 2 major academies. If Bailey Hongzhuang hadn't had a chance to change the rankings, he wouldn't have been able to help Kanglin Academy regain its honor. His mood had been depressed and helpless, but he had finally returned to the current calm. It is not terrible to lag behind, as long as he continues to work hard. It is not impossible to close these gaps in the future. The phrase give up did not exist in Gong Xiaoqing's dictionary. I'm going. After he said this, Gong Xiaoqing immediately walked to the high platform. Lu Qingyue looked at Gong Xiaoqing's back as he left, wanting to say something but unable to say anything in the end. No matter what, Gong Xiaoqing will always be the hero of her heart. Nangong Aochen stood on the competition stage again. Beside him, a flame lion was looking at Gong Xiaoqing aggressively. My God, this is the contracted beast of His Royal Highness, the flame lion. I heard that the flame lion has the strength of the 5th level of the Red Realm. Ordinary contracted beasts are no match for the flame lion. Does His Highness the Crown Prince need to do anything himself? As long as the flame lion makes a move, Gong Xiaoqing has already failed. Everyone's eyes were attracted by the majestic flame lion. They saw that the beast had red flaming hair all over its body. It was a lion with the attribute of fire, and its attack power was also very powerful. The royal family had spent a lot of effort to help Nangong Aochen find this flame lion. Thank you for reading on my tip novel. Chapter 845. It's just a little lion. Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze also fell on the flame lion. The flame lion is an excellent breed amongst demon pets, and it is not easy to contract the flame lion. It is difficult to find the flame lion cub alone, and it is even more difficult to seal the flame lion cub into an egg. This shows how rare Nangong Aochen's flame lion cub was. It's just a little lion, what's there to be proud of? Xiao He curled his lips with an expression of indifference. This kind of guy can be killed in a matter of minutes. Xiao Bai nodded. The monkey reigns when the tiger is not at home one. This kind of guy can only be proud in this type of backcountry. Bailey Hongzhuang listened to Xiao He and Xiao Bai's attitude, with a faint smile on the corners of her lips. The mouth on these two guys is really not small. Master, when you fight Nangong Aochen later, send me onto the field, and I'll instantly kill that little lion. Xiao He's eyes flashed with excitement. He hadn't made a move for so long. His hands were itchy. Although the current master's strength is still not strong, it should be okay to expose the relationship with Xiao Bai. Before Bailey Hongzhuang could speak, Bai Shi already protested. If you want to go on, there's also me. It has been waiting for this opportunity to clear its name. Hearing this, Xiao He and Xiao Bai also smiled. Since this is a good opportunity for Bai Shi to clear his name, they won't compete with the white lion. After Gong Xiaoqing saw the flame lion beside Nangong Aochen, his eyes also changed a bit. Feeling out a little with his senses, Gong Xiaoqing knew that the flame lion's strength was not weak, and there was a bit of fluctuation in his heart. The royal family's heritage is indeed beyond that of ordinary people. This flame lion is not very old but has already reached the 5th level of cultivation in the Red Realm. So many cultivation resources have been spent just to improve the strength of the flame lion. It really shows how rich and powerful they are. The competition begins. After the referee's order, Nangong Aochen and Gong Xiaoqing didn't make a move immediately. Nangong Aochen looked at Gong Xiaoqing. According to his understanding, Gong Xiaoqing was still in the late stage of Xintian realm, so he was not a match with him at all. Once he took action, it would be a complete rout, so he was not anxious at all. Since you don't have a contracted beast, my contracted beast won't make a move. Nangong Aochen said slowly. With such an absolute disparity in strength, there was no need for the flame lion to participate in the battle. Whatever. Gong Xiaoqing's attitude was as cold as ever, and to him, whether Nangong Aochen used the contracted beast or not didn't make any difference. Hearing Gong Xiaoqing's answer, Nangong Aochen was a little surprised. Logically speaking, an ordinary cultivator should be very flustered in such a situation, but he couldn't feel any such emotion at all from Gong Xiaoqing. On the contrary, Gong Xiaoqing's indifferent attitude was very strange. Make your move. Gong Xiaoqing did not delay. He knew that even if he exploded with all his power to fight with Nangong Aochen, he might not be able to achieve any results, because the strength gap between the two was too great. However, even so, he would still try his best. If even a small amount of Nangong Aochen's power can be consumed, it will be that much easier for Bailey Hongzhuang to deal with Nangong Aochen. This is his only thought after stepping onto the arena. Everything else is no longer important. Thank you for reading on my tip novel. Chapter 846. Fight Gong Xiaoqing. Seeing that Gong Xiaoqing was so fast, Nangong Ouchin didn't waste any more time. The Yuanli in his body surged in an instant, and powerful energy surged out without any effort. Taking a step forward, Nangong Ouchin suddenly punched out. The sharp wind from his fist smashed through the air, creating a sonic boom. Sensing the power of Nangong Ouchin's fist, Gong Xiaoqing's heart shuddered. An expert will know as soon as he made a move. Although he had long understood the gap between two realms, he couldn't help being amazed after Nangong Ouchin made a move. The seemingly simple punch came with the feeling of invincibility. If he hit it head-on, he was afraid that his hand would be ruined. Gong Xiaoqing leaped up immediately and dodged Nangong Ouchin's fist. At the same time he punched Nangong Ouchin's chest with a tricky arc. Nangong Ouchin's speed was also extremely fast as he dodged sideways and attacked Gong Xiaoqing again with fierce fists. Watching the battle between Gong Xiaoqing and Nangong Ouchin, everyone thought it was like a game of cat and mouse. What the hell? Are the students of Kinglin Academy turtles? They're hiding all the time, and don't even have the courage to fight head-to-head. No matter how good that Gong Xiaoqing is at hiding, once His Royal Highness finds an opportunity, he will definitely lose. There is a big gap in cultivation between Gong Xiaoqing and His Royal Highness, and the fact that he has been able to dodge until now is proof of his strength. There are also many discerning people among the onlookers. From the moment Gong Xiaoqing and Nangong Ouchin's auras erupted, they already understood that this was a contest with a great disparity in strength. Gong Xiaoqing can't fight head-to-head at all, because once he does, he will definitely lose this battle. Dodging is the only way, and it is this kind of evasion that also demonstrates Gong Xiaoqing's fighting skills, and shows his strength as much as possible under such limitations. Although there is a certain gap in the strength of Kinglin Academy's Gong Xiaoqing, he is very smart and has a solid foundation. As long as he is given a certain amount of time, his future will not be bad. People with discerning eyes have already seen Gong Xiaoqing's purpose. Appreciation appeared in their eyes. Cultivation can be improved, and at Gong Xiaoqing's age, there is a lot of room for improvement in the future. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes were fixed on the high platform. Gong Xiaoqing's strength was clearly displayed, but Nangong Ouchin's strength was indeed very strong. In her opinion, this Nangong Ouchin is indeed a gentleman. Nangong Ouchin's previous attacks were not violent. He was deliberately giving Gong Xiaoqing a chance to perform. After all, it is not easy for every cultivator to reach this stage. Since Gong Xiaoqing has the courage to participate in the competition, he should be given a chance to perform. But now Nangong Ouchin's attacks have become more and more violent, and Gong Xiaoqing is in danger. The slightest mistake will lead to defeat. Lu Qinyue's hands were clasped. Her pretty face was full of worry. She was afraid that Gong Xiaoqing would be seriously injured if he was not careful. Xia Ziqing and the others also fell silent at that moment. Gong Xiaoqing's power was strong in their eyes. But in front of Nangong Ouchin, Gong Xiaoqing still had no room to fight back. The huge difference in power between the two is clear. So, it seems that it may be very difficult for them to come back in this final. Thank you for reading on my tip novel. Chapter 847. It's over. Scoff. A strong wind slashed by, and Gong Xiaoqing's pupils reflected a huge fist rapidly approaching. It was too late to escape. Gong Xiaoqing felt helpless. This competition was coming to an end. However, that fist stopped in front of Gong Xiaoqing's forehead. And at the same time, Nangong Ouchin's voice rang out. It's over. Nangong Ouchin slowly withdrew his fist, his face still calm and serious. To him, defeating Gong Xiaoqing was nothing to be proud about. If it wasn't because his opponent was a participant in the Academy Exchange competition, he would never have fought against Gong Xiaoqing. Gong Xiaoqing's expression was also very indifferent. He understood Nangong Ouchin's arrogance. In fact, he was indeed not qualified to be Nangong Ouchin's opponent. However, he was not discouraged by this. On the contrary, this will be his motivation. If you want your opponent to respect you, you first need to have the qualifications to make your opponent respect you. Nangong Ouchin of Lingyan Academy wins. The referee announced the result without hesitation, and cheers arose throughout the stands. Nangong Ouchin is their pride. Immediately after Nangong Ouchin defeated the opponent, they were also somewhat surprised. Because while Gong Xiaoqing slowly walked back to the team, Nangong Ouchen was still standing on the high platform. The next competition was still his. Good job. Cui Haoyan immediately patted Gong Xiaoqing's chest and expressed his admiration. In fact, if it were him, it would be impossible for him to last so long against Nangong Ouchen. Gong Xiaoqing was defeated but still proud. Xia Jiqing and the others also smiled. They had no regrets after being able to make it this far. Nangong Ouchen is very strong. Even though I tried my best, he still was not serious. You have to be careful. Gong Xiaoqing's eyes were filled with concern. Bailey Hongzhuang is different from him. He knew that Hongzhuang was still thinking of fighting. Although he felt that her chances were low, it has always been a good opportunity to fight hard on the competition stage. How will you know how strong you were if you don't work hard? He actually tried his best, but the difference in power between the two was too great, so it was useless for him to try his best. But the gap between Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Ouchen is smaller. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. I understand. The exquisite and beautiful face was dignified and serious. She had never underestimated Nangong Ouchen, and he must have a lot of cards up his sleeves. However, she will try her best as well. Compared with Nangong Ouchen, Kanglin Academy needs victory more. She did not know what the final result of this competition will be, but she won't let Nangong Ouchen win easily. Jian Qingqiu's face was full of pride. Nangong Ouchen can be called the most outstanding student of Lingyin Academy in recent years. He really is one in a million. The first 2 days of the preliminary competition and the alchemy competition already made him unhappy. It wasn't until Nangong Ouchen's crushing victories today that a smile appeared on his face. No matter how Kanglin Academy tries to change the situation, the final victor will be Lingyin Academy. Although the results of the alchemy competition have a certain value, they are completely different from those of the cultivator competition. Nangong Oui also showed a satisfied smile after seeing Nangong Ouchen's performance. Nangong Ouchen is the prince he is most satisfied with. This strategy demonstrates his rank, but it can also win the heart of the people. He is very satisfied. Thank you for reading on my tip novel. Chapter 848 on the stage, Bailey Hongzhuang. In the third round, Nangong Ouchen of Lingyin Academy will face off against Bailey Hongzhuang of Kanglin Academy. As soon as these words came out, the gazes of the crowd fell on Bailey Hongzhuang. An unusually attractive woman, she had garnered the attention of many people in the first moment that she appeared in the royal competition arena. Nangong Ouchen's gaze also fell on Bailey Hongzhuang. A light flashed quietly in his eyes. He was finally going to fight Bailey Hongzhuang. Nangong Oui also looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. He also understood Bailey Hongzhuang's humiliation of Nangong Xiujia. This matter has already involved the face of the royal family, and his feelings towards Bailey Hongzhuang were bad. But he never thought that Bailey Hongzhuang would be such a distinguished-looking little girl. He knew that the reason why Bailey Hongzhuang did that was because Nangong Xiujia had gone too far, but he didn't care about that at all. No matter who it is, if they do something that insults the dignity of the Qingshao Kingdom's royal family, they must pay the price. When they knew that it was Bailey Hongzhuang's turn to fight, Nangong Yujin and Nangong Yuer had hideous smiles on their faces. Bailey Hongzhuang was so arrogant before, but let's see if she can continue to be so arrogant. Nangong Yuer's smile was a bit smug. She hated Bailey Hongzhuang to the bone, and it just so happened that what Bailey Hongzhuang had done earlier went against the dignity of the royal family, so her father had ordered that Bailey Hongzhuang be taught a lesson. She believed that it was impossible for Nangong Ouchen to disobey their father's order, so Bailey Hongzhuang would suffer bitterly today. Nangong Ouchen should teach Bailey Hongzhuang a lesson, so that she will know the height of the heavens or the depth of the earth one. Nangong Yujin narrowed his eyes slightly. Because of Bailey Hongzhuang, he was reprimanded by his father, and Nangong Xiujia, who had the best relationship with him, also died. He really hoped that Bailey Hongzhuang would also disappear from this world. Let's just wait for the show. Nangong Yuer's expression relaxed slightly. The outcome of this competition was already set in stone. All they needed to see was how badly Bailey Hongzhuang would lose. Hongzhuang, go for it! Xia Jiqing yelled, pumping her fists. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. I will. Everyone cheered for Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang is Kanglin Academy's greatest hope. However, just as Bailey Hongzhuang was about to walk to the competition arena, Lu Huayan's voice rang out. Bailey Hongzhuang, although the result of this competition is important, it's not as important as you yourself, do you understand? Lu Huayan's eyes flashed with worry. He really appreciated and admired this student, Bailey Hongzhuang. Cultivator, doctor, alchemist and inscription master. These four identities converged on Bailey Hongzhuang, and she can no longer be described with just the word genius. Although this competition is very important to Kanglin Academy, the Kanglin Academy's focus has always been student-centered. Students are the most important, and the existence of the academy is for the growth of students. If students are allowed to give up everything just for the reputation of the academy, it would put the cart before the horse too. The dark and bright phoenix eyes revealed a touch of surprise. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Lu Huayan and slowly revealed a smile. That is also the wish of the vice principal, Lu Huayan said again. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes changed slightly, and a touch of emotion spread in her heart. She nodded, I understand. Thank you for reading on Wuxia World. Ew. Chapter 849 Strong Killing Intent. No one knew that when Lu Huayan said these words, Xiao Lanmei's eyes changed slightly. Bailey Hongzhuang slowly walked up to the competition stage and stood opposite Nangong Aochen. Her exquisite and stunning face still showed indifference and detachment. She didn't have a positive impression of members of the royal family. In fact, all of the members of the royal family were somewhat self-righteous. Even if Nangong Aochen showed the appearance of a gentleman, she didn't sense this even a little bit. Bailey Hongzhuang. Nangong Aochen's gaze fell on Bailey Hongzhuang as he slowly said Bailey Hongzhuang's name. When you humiliated Nangong Xiujia, you should know that you touched the face one of Qingshao Kingdom's royal family. Nangong Aochen's voice was low, and his eyes were sharp. No one is allowed to sully the dignity of the royal family. Bailey Hongzhuang's expression remained unchanged, the corners of her lips hooked up in a mocking smile. Only officials are allowed to set fires, while the common people are not allowed to light lamps too. You speak so eloquently. She is no stranger to the dignified face shown by the royal family. Bailey Hongzhuang often faced such tricks in Fengbua Kingdom, and has long been used to it. Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's blatant provocation, Nangong Aochen was slightly embarrassed. Everyone knows that what Bailey Hongzhuang said was the truth. Now that the royal family is investigating the assassination of Nangong Xiujia, the matter of Nangong Xiujia and Nangong Yujin harassing Bailey Hongzhuang and Lu Qingyue at the first floor is no longer a secret. In other words, from beginning to end it was Nangong Xiujia who provoked the cultivators of Kanglin Academy, while Bailey Hongzhuang and others responded passively. However, insulting the dignity of the royal family is insulting the dignity of the royal family. No matter what the reason is, it is unforgivable. No matter what, you cannot provoke the dignity of the Qingshao Kingdom royal family. Nangong Aochen's voice was slightly cold. What Bailey Hongzhuang said at this moment was already disrespectful. Nangong Oi's majestic face flashed with a touch of anger. Today, Nangong Aochen was prepared to take this opportunity to restore the dignity of the royal family. If Bailey Hongzhuang knew how to behave, it would be fine, but Bailey Hongzhuang still had such an attitude, so he couldn't let it go. Nangong Aochen's gaze turned slightly, and he quietly glanced at Nangong Oi. After seeing Nangong Oi's eyes, he immediately understood. In the next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang clearly felt the murderous aura emanating from Nangong Aochen. Her phoenix eyes narrowed slightly. Nangong Aochen actually had murderous intentions towards her. Judging from the previous actions, Nangong Aochen originally did not intend to kill her, but now he actually showed killing intent towards her. She is sure that this is Nangong Oi's idea. For intolerant royals, stains are not allowed to exist. She must be completely obliterated. Perhaps on other occasions Nangong Aochen is not suitable for this, but in this case, Nangong Aochen is not under any pressure. 3. Even if he kills Bailey Hongzhuang, he only needs to say he made a mistake. Everyone will know that the truth is that this is a demonstration by the royal family. A cold light appeared in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. It seems that the situation is no longer as simple as everyone thought. This competition is probably a fight to the death. The crowd only felt that the atmosphere between Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Aochen suddenly became serious. They did not know about the murderous intent surging between them. Thank you for reading on Wuxia World. Ew. Chapter 850 Kill Directly. Isn't this just a bullshit royal family? He's so full of himself. 1. Master, let's kill Nangong Aochen, the heir to the royal family. A cold light flashed in Xiaohei's eyes. If Nangong Aochen's attitude was good it would be fine. But this attitude is simply inexcusable. No matter how you look at it, this is Nangong Xiujia's problem, and has nothing to do with the master. It is really disgusting that the royal family puts on such a sanctimonious appearance. It's okay to kill, but it can't be done in plain sight. Bailey Hongzhuang's phoenix eyes narrowed slightly. Her face was covered with frost. An eye for an eye. 2. Since Nangong Aochen has the heart to kill her, he should be prepared to be killed by her. It's just that in this royal arena, in full view of everyone, she can't do it. Because they are now in Qingshao Kingdom. Once Nangong Aochen falls, the entire Kanglin Academy would be implicated. If it was just her, leaving Qingshao Kingdom wouldn't be a big deal, but Kanglin Academy wouldn't be able to escape. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her chin slightly and looked at Nangong Aochen coldly. Let's fight. Since it is unavoidable, let's fight. There was also a hint of coldness in Nangong Aochen's eyes. As an adult of the royal family, he must obliterate the existence of all those who insult the dignity of the royal family. Doubt flashed in the eyes of Huan Qiyu and the others. Although the issue between Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Xiujia has some impact, the atmosphere between the two was too serious. The competition begins. With the referee's order, Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Aochen started the battle. The white lion jumped down from Bailey Hongzhuang's arms. His little body stared at the flame lion beside Nangong Aochen. Damn guy, how dare he want to kill his master? He will destroy this flame lion opponent first. Nangong Aochen couldn't help but be a little amused after seeing the ornamental contract beast in Bailey Hongzhuang's arms also participating in the battle. The flame lion's mouth can easily bite off the neck of this little guy. However, he also understood Bailey Hongzhuang's reason for doing this. Since Bailey Hongzhuang was already going to die, there was no reason why this contract beast shouldn't participate in the battle. When the audience saw the white lion confronting the flame lion, they couldn't help laughing out loud. Haha, this little guy also came to fight. The flame lion is 10 times bigger. Are the people from Kanglin Academy here just to make jokes? If this little guy can withstand a blow from the flaming lion, I'll eat this chair. Almost everyone was laughing. This was just too humiliating. Xia Jiqing and the others were also stunned. Although Bailey Hongzhuang normally always hugged the white lion, they had never seen the white lion fight. Thinking of the tyrannical strength of the flame lion, the white lion might die immediately on this competition arena. They didn't understand why Bailey Hongzhuang would do this. Only Mo Yunjue in the stands had a glint of understanding in his eyes. The power inside this little guy is beyond everyone's comprehension. You're quite enlightened. Nangong Aochen also had a touch of admiration for Bailey Hongzhuang. He didn't know whether it was self-confidence or ignorance, but she still didn't show any panic before death. Bailey Hongzhuang coldly glanced at Nangong Aochen, her red lips parting slightly. You lack enlightenment. Thank you for reading on Wuxia World. Ew. Chapter 851 Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort, this kind of thing is useless against me. Nangong Aochen let out a cold snort and stepped forward with the sole of his foot. The energy in his dantian burst out, and a tyrannical pressure spread instantly. The 5th level of the Red Realm. Tyrannical coercion immediately pressed down on Bailey Hongzhuang. He didn't use all his strength when fighting Gong Shaoqing, but he wanted a crushing victory to break Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang's phoenix eyes narrowed slightly. After reaching the innate realm, when there is a certain gap between the strength of two cultivators, the coercion of the strong will generate a huge pressure to crush the opponent. Under this coercion, the weaker competitor will also be suppressed and be unable to exert their full combat power. This is the difficulty of leapfrog battles. Ordinary people cannot break through this layer of coercion, and the competitor is eclipsed. Bailey Hongzhuang's speed was also limited. The vitality in her body roared out, and the strength of the third level of the Red Realm was revealed. Everyone was a little surprised when they saw that Bailey Hongzhuang had reached the third level of the Red Realm at this young age. She deserves the title of genius. If Bailey Hongzhuang was the same age as Nangong Aochen, her strength would not be weaker than Nangong Aochen. You can only blame Bailey Hongzhuang for being born later. Facing the coercion of Nangong Aochen, Bailey Hongzhuang only felt that a huge boulder was pressing on her body, somewhat impacting her combat power. Nangong Aochen looked indifferent. This is the difference between the weak and the strong. There is almost no need to do anything, the weak is already at an impasse. After seeing the Nangong Aochen's arrogance and complacency, Bailey Hongzhuang's lips slowly parted into a mocking smile. Bailey Hongzhuang's mind moved, and a touch of jade color quietly appeared on her arms, radiant and tough. The next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang slammed her right fist towards the coercive pressure. Boom! A dull sound came out, and Nangong Aochen's expression changed instantly. Crackle, there was a slight cracking sound, and then the coercion dissipated like a broken mirror. When they saw this scene, there was a touch of amazement in everyone's eyes. Nangong Aochen's coercion was broken so easily by Bailey Hongzhuang. This kind of thing is useless against me, Bailey Hongzhuang said indifferently. The strength difference between her and Nangong Aochen was only 2 ranks. This level of coercion would absolutely not suppress her. Nangong Aochen was also a little surprised that just one punch had shattered the coercion. It was clear that the strength of Bailey Hongzhuang's fist was amazing. At the same time, a touch of interest quietly appeared in Nangong Aochen's eyes. Among the younger generation of cultivators, he rarely encountered such an interesting person. Immediately after, Nangong Aochen moved, turning into a ray of yellow light sweeping towards Bailey Hongzhuang. The distance between the two of them closed instantly. Nangong Aochen turned his right palm into a fist, and without hesitation struck at Bailey Hongzhuang's neck. The huge fist was wrapped in a fierce wind and enlarged rapidly in Bailey Hongzhuang's view. But Bailey Hongzhuang didn't panic. She did not have the slightest intention of avoiding it. She coincidentally wanted to also know how strong she really is now. Just when the fist was about to reach Bailey Hongzhuang, she moved. A slim white fist greeted Nangong Aochen fearlessly, actually wanting to go head-to-head. Seeing this scene, almost everyone already foresaw the fate of Bailey Hongzhuang's bones being broken. Thank you for reading on Wuxia World. Ew. Chapter 852. Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort Body Training Martial Art. This Bailey Hongzhuang is too nonchalant. Does she think that eldest brother's 2 extra levels of strength are just for show? The corners of Nangong Yuer's mouth curled in mockery, but the smile in her eyes gradually deepened. Bailey Hongzhuang's hand was broken. This was also good news. People who come from small places are always a little ignorant. They really think that their strength is great. Nangong Yujin said languidly. Boom! 2 fists, one big and one small, collided loudly under the crowd's astonished gaze. The scenario of Bailey Hongzhuang's bones being broken that people expected didn't materialize. Nangong Aochen was surprised by the huge power coming from her fist. He did not expect Bailey Hongzhuang's strength to be so strong. I underestimated you, Nangong Aochen said slowly. He originally wanted to overwhelmingly defeat Bailey Hongzhuang, but now it seems that Bailey Hongzhuang's strength would not be so easy to solve. The children of the royal family are always so arrogant. Bailey Hongzhuang was not polite at all when she spoke. Since it was already an antagonistic situation, she would not respect her opponent. Nangong Aochen's face turned cold. A hint of sullen anger flashed in his eyes. His body moved, and he attacked like a storm. Bang bang bang. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't give in at all. Her figure waged war with Nangong Aochen. The fierce attacks continued to erupt and the two intertwined together like whirlwinds. The fierce energy also burst out sonic explosions. As the hits continued, Nangong Aochen's surprise increased. Usually, female practitioners are very weak in melee combat, but Bailey Hongzhuang didn't seem to be affected in any way, and her melee combat ability was very good. What he couldn't understand was that Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation base was clearly 2 levels weaker than his, So why didn't he feel Bailey Hongzhuang's weakness at all as they fought? Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang has cultivated body training martial arts? Nangong Aochen was a little puzzled. Although body training martial arts are not uncommon, good body training martial arts are rare. Bailey Hongzhuang can even fight against 2 levels of combat power disadvantage, which shows that Bailey Hongzhuang's martial arts level is high. It seems that the reputation of first place in each academy is not without merit. He can't underestimate the enemy. Swish! The 2 figures shot apart. Bailey Hongzhuang took a few steps back, releasing the energy in her body. Nangong Aochen's strength was, as everyone said, it not blown out of proportion. Even using the Jade body training skill, her strength was still somewhat lacking. The gap in strength between the 2 was not small. Under the sleeve of her robe, Bailey Hongzhuang's fist filled with red blood, and she trembled faintly. She was unavoidably injured in the last collision. However, the crowd was extremely horrified after seeing this scene. Nangong Yujin had a look of incredulity on his face. Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation level is clearly 2 levels lower than Nangong Aochen's. How can she persist under such a storm of attacks? How strong is Nangong Aochen? No one with weaker strength has ever been able to last against Nangong Aochen for so long. This is too bizarre. The eyes of Xia Jiqing and the others were full of excitement. Hongzhuang is really great. Even with Bailey Hongzhuang on stage, they never had any hope, because the gap between the 2 levels was huge. Bailey Hongzhuang's performance really amazed them. Thank you for reading on Wuxia World. Ew. Chapter 853 Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor Unscrupulous Consort appearance by Sure. Since it's already a match to the death, let's get it over with. The coldness in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes gradually deepened. She already had a certain understanding of Nangong Aochen's strength from this initial confrontation. Although her cultivation was not as good as Nangong Aochen's, she is not without the strength to fight. The word concede has never been in her dictionary. She will never know the final result without fighting for her life. Nangong Aochen's handsome eyes narrowed slightly. That Bailey Hongzhuang could still say such words in this situation meant that Bailey Hongzhuang was planning to go all out. Since you are so eager to die, I will help you out. Nangong Aochen's voice was also full of chill. He couldn't continue to let Bailey Hongzhuang go on. What he wanted was a crushing victory, so that everyone could see that the majesty of the royal family could not be trampled upon. On the other side, Bai Shi turned his head to look at Bailey Hongzhuang. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang nod, Bai Shi's gaze fell on the opposite flame lion. A trace of fear flashed in the eyes of the majestic flame lion after seeing the white lion. His sturdy figure also began to tremble. Seeing this, everyone looked astonished. Why does it seem that the flame lion is afraid of that little white beast? What kind of little white beast is that? Why have I never seen one before? Everyone was puzzled. Although there are many types of beasts, the people present did not lack in experience. They are even familiar with ornamental beasts, but they had never seen a beast like Bai Shi. You think too much. How could the flame lion be afraid of such a small beast? Other people also disagreed. The flame lion is very rare among contract beasts. How could the contracted beast of a student from the backcountry Kanglin Academy be better than His Royal Highness? Old Huan, what kind of contract beast is this? Jian Qingqiu is not a stupid person. The concept of hierarchy among beasts is stricter than that of humans. Only when low-level beasts meet high-level beasts would there be such a reaction. In the past, they only regarded Bailey Hongzhuang's monster beast as a pet, but now it seems that this white lion is obviously not just ornamental. Huan Qiyu was also a little surprised. In fact, he had never paid attention to the white lion. This, I have never thought about either. Huan Qiyu said slowly. However, Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi obviously didn't believe Huan Qiyu, and thought that Huan Qiyu was trying to purposefully show off. Regardless of the strength of this beast, Bailey Hongzhuang will not be able to beat Nangong Aochen. Song Hongxi did not have any positive feelings for Huan Qiyu 1. Yesterday, Huan Qiyu revealed Wei Hanyun's identity in front of everyone, which humiliated him. Now he only hopes that Kanglin Academy will return in defeat and come in last place. Huan Qiu glanced at Song Hongxi indifferently. At least my students from Kanglin Academy still have the courage to fight, unlike yours that don't even have the courage to fight. Seeing Huan Qiu's words become more and more rude, Song Hongxi also snorted coldly. You'd better pray that the good seedlings of your Kanglin Academy don't die on this competition stage. You! Huan Qiu was furious, but Song Hongxi had already looked away. This old guy was going too far. However, Song Hongxi's words reminded Huan Qiu that he must pay constant attention to the situation on the stage, and not allow Bailey Hongzhuang's life to be in danger. Thank you for reading on Wuxia World. Ew. Chapter 850 Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort posted on December 6, 2022 by Staltiel. No comments on Chapter 850. Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort kill directly. Isn't this just a bullshit royal family? He's so full of himself. 1. Master, let's kill Nangong Aochen, the heir to the royal family. A cold light flashed in Xiaohei's eyes. If Nangong Aochen's attitude was good it would be fine, but this attitude is simply inexcusable. No matter how you look at it, this is Nangong Xiujia's problem, and has nothing to do with the master. It is really disgusting that the royal family puts on such a sanctimonious appearance. It's okay to kill, but it can't be done in plain sight. Bailey Hongzhuang's phoenix eyes narrowed slightly. Her face was covered with frost. An eye for an eye. 2. Since Nangong Aochen has the heart to kill her, he should be prepared to be killed by her. It's just that in this royal arena, in full view of everyone, she can't do it. Because they are now in Qingshao Kingdom. Once Nangong Aochen falls, the entire Kanglin Academy would be implicated. If it was just her, leaving Qingshao Kingdom wouldn't be a big deal, but Kanglin Academy wouldn't be able to escape. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her chin slightly and looked at Nangong Aochen coldly. Let's fight. Since it is unavoidable, let's fight. There was also a hint of coldness in Nangong Aochen's eyes. As an adult of the royal family, he must obliterate the existence of all those who insult the dignity of the royal family. Doubt flashed in the eyes of Huan Qiu and the others. Although the issue between Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Xiujia has some impact, the atmosphere between the two was too serious. The competition begins. With the referee's order, Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Aochen started the battle. The white lion jumped down from Bailey Hongzhuang's arms. His little body stared at the flame lion beside Nangong Aochen. Damn guy, how dare he want to kill his master? He will destroy this flame lion opponent first. Nangong Aochen couldn't help but be a little amused after seeing the ornamental contract beast in Bailey Hongzhuang's arms also participating in the battle. The flame lion's mouth can easily bite off the neck of this little guy. However, he also understood Bailey Hongzhuang's reason for doing this. Since Bailey Hongzhuang was already going to die, there was no reason why this contract beast shouldn't participate in the battle. When the audience saw the white lion confronting the flame lion, they couldn't help laughing out loud. Haha, this little guy also came to fight. The flame lion is 10 times bigger. Are the people from Kanglin Academy here just to make jokes? If this little guy can withstand a blow from the flaming lion, I'll eat this chair. Almost everyone was laughing. This was just too humiliating. Xia Jiqing and the others were also stunned. Although Bailey Hongzhuang normally always hugged the white lion, they had never seen the white lion fight. Thinking of the tyrannical strength of the flame lion, the white lion might die immediately on this competition arena. They didn't understand why Bailey Hongzhuang would do this. Only Mo Yunjue in the stands had a glint of understanding in his eyes. The power inside this little guy is beyond everyone's comprehension. You're quite enlightened. Nangong Aochen also had a touch of admiration for Bailey Hongzhuang. He didn't know whether it was self-confidence or ignorance, but she still didn't show any panic before death. Bailey Hongzhuang coldly glanced at Nangong Aochen, her red lips parting slightly. You lack enlightenment. TL/N1 is literally, he started pretending to breathe heavily as soon as he's called fat. To another idiom literally, you do the first day of the month, I'll do the 15th. This kind of thing is useless against me. Nangong Aochen let out a cold snort and stepped forward with the sole of his foot. The energy in his dantian burst out, and a tyrannical pressure spread instantly. The fifth level of the Red Realm. Tyrannical coercion immediately pressed down on Bailey Hongzhuang. He didn't use all his strength when fighting Gong Shaoqing, but he wanted a crushing victory to break Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang's phoenix eyes narrowed slightly. After reaching the innate realm, when there is a certain gap between the strength of two cultivators, the coercion of the strong will generate a huge pressure to crush the opponent. Under this coercion, the weaker competitor will also be suppressed and be unable to exert their full combat power. This is the difficulty of leapfrog battles. Ordinary people cannot break through this layer of coercion, and the competitor is eclipsed. Bailey Hongzhuang's speed was also limited. The vitality in her body roared out, and the strength of the third level of the Red Realm was revealed. Everyone was a little surprised when they saw that Bailey Hongzhuang had reached the third level of the Red Realm at this young age. She deserves the title of genius. If Bailey Hongzhuang was the same age as Nangong Aochen, her strength would not be weaker than Nangong Aochen. You can only blame Bailey Hongzhuang for being born later. Facing the coercion of Nangong Aochen, Bailey Hongzhuang only felt that a huge boulder was pressing on her body, somewhat impacting her combat power. Nangong Aochen looked indifferent. This is the difference between the weak and the strong. There is almost no need to do anything, the weak is already at an impasse. After seeing the Nangong Aochen's arrogance and complacency, Bailey Hongzhuang's lips slowly parted into a mocking smile. Bailey Hongzhuang's mind moved, and a touch of jade color quietly appeared on her arms, radiant and tough. The next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang slammed her right fist towards the coercive pressure. Boom! A dull sound came out, and Nangong Aochen's expression changed instantly. Crackle, there was a slight cracking sound, and then the coercion dissipated like a broken mirror. When they saw this scene, there was a touch of amazement in everyone's eyes. Nangong Aochen's coercion was broken so easily by Bailey Hongzhuang. This kind of thing is useless against me, Bailey Hongzhuang said indifferently. The strength difference between her and Nangong Aochen was only 2 ranks. This level of coercion would absolutely not suppress her. Nangong Aochen was also a little surprised that just one punch had shattered the coercion. It was clear that the strength of Bailey Hongzhuang's fist was amazing. At the same time, a touch of interest quietly appeared in Nangong Aochen's eyes. Among the younger generation of cultivators, he rarely encountered such an interesting person. Immediately after, Nangong Aochen moved, turning into a ray of yellow light sweeping towards Bailey Hongzhuang. The distance between the two of them closed instantly. Nangong Aochen turned his right palm into a fist, and without hesitation struck at Bailey Hongzhuang's neck. The huge fist was wrapped in a fierce wind and enlarged rapidly in Bailey Hongzhuang's view. But Bailey Hongzhuang didn't panic. She did not have the slightest intention of avoiding it. She coincidentally wanted to also know how strong she really is now. Just when the fist was about to reach Bailey Hongzhuang, she moved. A slim white fist greeted Nangong Aochen fearlessly, actually wanting to go head-to-head. Seeing this scene, almost everyone already foresaw the fate of Bailey Hongzhuang's bones being broken. Body training martial arts. This Bailey Hongzhuang is too nonchalant. Does she think that eldest brother's 2 extra levels of strength are just for show? The corners of Nangong Yuer's mouth curled in mockery, but the smile in her eyes gradually deepened. Bailey Hongzhuang's hand was broken. This was also good news. People who come from small places are always a little ignorant. They really think that their strength is great. Nangong Yujin said languidly. Boom! 2 fists, one big and one small, collided loudly under the crowd's astonished gaze. The scenario of Bailey Hongzhuang's bones being broken that people expected didn't materialize. Nangong Aochen was surprised by the huge power coming from her fist. He did not expect Bailey Hongzhuang's strength to be so strong. I underestimated you, Nangong Aochen said slowly. He originally wanted to overwhelmingly defeat Bailey Hongzhuang, but now it seems that Bailey Hongzhuang's strength would not be so easy to solve. The children of the royal family are always so arrogant. Bailey Hongzhuang was not polite at all when she spoke. Since it was already an antagonistic situation, she would not respect her opponent. Nangong Aochen's face turned cold. A hint of sullen anger flashed in his eyes, his body moved, and he attacked like a storm. Bang bang bang. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't give in at all. Her figure waged war with Nangong Aochen. The fierce attacks continued to erupt and the two intertwined together like whirlwinds. The fierce energy also burst out sonic explosions. As the hits continued, Nangong Aochen's surprise increased. Usually, female practitioners are very weak in melee combat, but Bailey Hongzhuang didn't seem to be affected in any way, and her melee combat ability was very good. What he couldn't understand was that Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation base was clearly 2 levels weaker than his, so why didn't he feel Bailey Hongzhuang's weakness at all as they fought? Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang has cultivated body training martial arts? Nangong Aochen was a little puzzled. Although body training martial arts are not uncommon, good body training martial arts are rare. Bailey Hongzhuang can even fight against 2 levels of combat power disadvantage, which shows that Bailey Hongzhuang's martial arts level is high. It seems that the reputation of first place in each academy is not without merit. He can't underestimate the enemy. Swish. The two figures shot apart. Bailey Hongzhuang took a few steps back, releasing the energy in her body. Nangong Aochen's strength was, as everyone said, it not blown out of proportion. Even using the Jade body training skill, her strength was still somewhat lacking. The gap in strength between the two was not small. Under the sleeve of her robe, Bailey Hongzhuang's fist filled with red blood, and she trembled faintly. She was unavoidably injured in the last collision. However, the crowd was extremely horrified after seeing this scene. Nangong Yujin had a look of incredulity on his face. Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation level is clearly 2 levels lower than Nangong Aochen's. How can she persist under such a storm of attacks? How strong is Nangong Aochen? No one with weaker strength has ever been able to last against Nangong Aochen for so long. This is too bizarre. The eyes of Xia Jiqing and the others were full of excitement. Hongzhuang is really great. Even with Bailey Hongzhuang on stage, they never had any hope, because the gap between the 2 levels was huge. Bailey Hongzhuang's performance really amazed them. Appearance by sure. Since it's already a match to the death, let's get it over with. The coldness in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes gradually deepened. She already had a certain understanding of Nangong Aochen's strength from this initial confrontation. Although her cultivation was not as good as Nangong Aochen's, she is not without the strength to fight. The word concede has never been in her dictionary. She will never know the final result without fighting for her life. Nangong Aochen's handsome eyes narrowed slightly. That Bailey Hongzhuang could still say such words in this situation meant that Bailey Hongzhuang was planning to go all out. Since you are so eager to die, I will help you out. Nangong Aochen's voice was also full of chill. He couldn't continue to let Bailey Hongzhuang go on. What he wanted was a crushing victory, so that everyone could see that the majesty of the royal family could not be trampled upon. On the other side, Bai Shi turned his head to look at Bailey Hongzhuang. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang nod, Bai Shi's gaze fell on the opposite flame lion. A trace of fear flashed in the eyes of the majestic flame lion after seeing the white lion. His sturdy figure also began to tremble. Seeing this, everyone looked astonished. Why does it seem that the flame lion is afraid of that little white beast? What kind of little white beast is that? Why have I never seen one before? Everyone was puzzled. Although there are many types of beasts, the people present did not lack in experience. They are even familiar with ornamental beasts, but they had never seen a beast like Bai Shi. You think too much. How could the flame lion be afraid of such a small beast? Other people also disagreed. The flame lion is very rare among contract beasts. How could the contracted beast of a student from the backcountry Kanglin Academy be better than His Royal Highness? Old Huan, what kind of contract beast is this? Jian Qingqiu is not a stupid person. The concept of hierarchy among beasts is stricter than that of humans. Only when low-level beasts meet high-level beasts would there be such a reaction. In the past, they only regarded Bailey Hongzhuang's monster beast as a pet, but now it seems that this white lion is obviously not just ornamental. Huan Qiyu was also a little surprised. In fact, he had never paid attention to the white lion. This, I have never thought about either. Huan Qiyu said slowly. However, Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi obviously didn't believe Huan Qiyu, and thought that Huan Qiyu was trying to purposefully show off. Regardless of the strength of this beast, Bailey Hongzhuang will not be able to beat Nangong Aochin. Song Hongxi did not have any positive feelings for Huan Qiyu. Yesterday, Huan Qiyu revealed Wei Hanyun's identity in front of everyone, which humiliated him. Now he only hopes that Kanglin Academy will return in defeat and come in last place. Huan Qiyu glanced at Song Hongxi indifferently. At least my students from Kanglin Academy still have the courage to fight, unlike yours that don't even have the courage to fight. Seeing Huan Qiyu's words become more and more rude, Song Hongxi also snorted coldly. You'd better pray that the good seedlings of your Kanglin Academy don't die on this competition stage. You! Huan Qiyu was furious, but Song Hongxi had already looked away. This old guy was going too far. However, Song Hongxi's words reminded Huan Qiyu that he must pay constant attention to the situation on the stage, and not allow Bailey Hongzhuang's life to be in danger. Horror! Nangong Aochin. Bailey Hongzhuang and Bai Shi started their attacks simultaneously. Bailey Hongzhuang's Yuanli surged towards her fist, and at the same time she shifted her shape into a shadow, disappearing like a ghost. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's strange shape, Nangong Aochin's eyes also flashed with surprise. His entire focus tensed, not daring to relax anymore. Hurricane break. Bailey Hongzhuang's moved as swift as the wind, and a martial art move as fast as lightning struck Nangong Aochin's chest. Nangong Aochin reacted swiftly. After feeling the fierce wind, he also initiated a martial arts move. Shaking Dragon Fist. Bang! When the two fists collided, the bursts of Yuanli cancelled each other out, but the level of the Shaking Dragon Fist was stronger than the Hurricane Break. Therefore, in this collision, Nangong Aochin had the upper hand. Nangong Aochin, who was initially nervous, revealed a smile. The royal family's heritage is simply not comparable to that of ordinary people. Compared to other cultivators, it is much easier for him to acquire advanced martial arts. A satisfied smile appeared in Nangong Oi's eyes. Bailey Hongzhuang had been jumping around for so long, he should have killed her in one fell swoop. However, Bailey Hongzhuang was not overly disappointed in losing on that attack. The Yuanli in her body surged again. There was a hint of coldness in Nangong Aochin's eyes. Bailey Hongzhuang's strength was clearly weaker than his, yet she dared to attack him first. This is simply unforgivable. Next, I'll show you how powerful the royal family is. The arrogance between Nangong Aochin's brows intensified, and the energy in his body continued to emerge, converging on his hands. As Nangong Aochin's hands continued to flip, a complex seal was quietly formed. At the same time, a heart-palpitating force spread from his hands. Heavenly Devil's Palm. As soon as these words emerged, a huge palm quickly formed behind Nangong Aochin. The entire sky seemed to be suppressed by this huge palm of Yuanli, and an unspeakable pressure swept across the hearts of the crowd. Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze fell on the Heavenly Devil's Palm. The same move done by Nangong Aochin and Nangong Xiujia were completely different. The Heavenly Devil's Palm cast by Nangong Aochin was almost twice the size of Nangong Xiujia's. This showed how much stronger Nangong Aochin's mastery of martial arts was compared to Nangong Xiujia's. Brother has already trained the Heavenly Devil's Palm to such an extent. This is too terrifying. Nangong Yuer's face reflected awe. The Heavenly Devil's Palm she had refined was not even comparable to Nangong Xiujia. Nangong Aochin really deserved to be called the most outstanding talent of the Qingshao Kingdom royal family. Nangong Yujin's face was ugly. The stronger Nangong Aochin is, the worse it is for him. This level of strength completely overshadows all the other members of the royal family. Only Nangong Oi's eyes showed a look of satisfaction. Nangong Aochin was really a gift to Qingshao Kingdom from the heavens. Whether it was strength, mind, or ability, they were all one in a million. Huan Qiyu winked at Lu Huayan. The power of this Heavenly Devil's Palm is extraordinary. If Bailey Hongzhuang doesn't have a strong enough martial arts counter, Bailey Hongzhuang may fall here. Obviously, this kind of competition can no longer continue. Mo Yunjua's eyes were fixed on the competition stage. His expression was a little cold, But the Yuanli in his body was already surging quietly. Obviously, he also planned to save Bailey Hongzhuang before she was in danger. How is this possible? Master, this guy's heavenly devil's palm is very powerful. You have to be careful. Xiao Hei's eyes were full of worry. It could feel the power of this heavenly devil's palm. If the other party was an ordinary cultivator, Master should be able to fight against someone 2 levels higher. But Nangong Aochen's cultivation is obviously not simple. He was afraid that Nangong Aochen also could leapfrog combat. As a result, the gap between the Master and Nangong Aochen will be even greater. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes flashed with strong fighting intent. The final result will be unknown until the last moment. In a flash, the Yuanli in Bailey Hongzhuang's body also surged crazily. As she kept flipping her hands, an equally palpitating energy burst out. Azure One Flame Sacred Palm. Bailey Hongzhuang yelled coldly. A huge Yuanli palm also appeared in midair, blazing azure flames covering the entire palm. The temperature of the entire martial arts arena also rose slightly, and a scorching heat spread. Anyone who had seen the battle between Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Xiujia was not unfamiliar with the azure flame sacred palm. Previously, Bailey Hongzhuang defeated Nangong Xiujia with this azure flame sacred palm, but Nangong Xiujia's mastery of the heavenly devil's palm could not be compared with Nangong Aochen's at all. At this moment it would be a bit whimsical to want to use this trick to stop the demon palm. A country bumpkin is a country bumpkin. She has only mastered a few moves, and she just doesn't have any more moves. Nangong Yuer's lips curled slightly, and she looked at Xia Jiqing and the others mockingly. They were from 2 different worlds from the time they were born. A touch of anger appeared on the faces of Xia Jiqing and the others, but there was also a bit of helplessness in their hearts. In fact, the heritage of ordinary people cannot be compared with that of the royal family. Elder Huan, can't your Kanglin Academy hand over any decent martial arts to its students? It's very difficult to conquer the world with only one move. Song Hongxi mocked. There was also a smile on Jian Qingqiu's face. This is the royal family's heritage. With things going the way they were, it would be impossible for Kanglin Academy to turn things around. However, Huan Qiu didn't bother to pay attention to Song Hongxi at all. It's not that Kanglin Academy doesn't have martial arts to teach students. It's just that Bailey Hongzhuang came to Kanglin Academy only a little while ago, that's all. With the power of your azure flame sacred palm, you are doomed to fail. Nangong Aochen's eyes showed a trace of contempt, and he was able to judge the outcome before the 2 attacks collided, because the gap between the 2 really is too large. However, the corners of Bailey Hongzhuang's lips slowly hooked up in a wicked and enchanting arc. That's not necessarily true. Suddenly, everyone saw Bailey Hongzhuang's hands flipping again, and her face turned slightly pale. Just when everyone didn't understand what Bailey Hongzhuang was doing, Bailey Hongzhuang's hands suddenly folded together, and the azure palm suspended in midair suddenly shrunk a bit. Seeing this, Nangong Aochen's pupils shrank and a look of disbelief appeared on that serious cold face. The scorching temperature increased as the azure palm shrank and the entire palm became more dazzling, even completely blocking the sun's brilliance. How is this possible? Nangong Aochen asked in astonishment. TL/N1 actually is a blue-green color, some say cyan, some say blue, some say green. I'm making it azure for convenience. An amazing scene. It is not the most difficult thing to enlarge martial arts, but it is extremely difficult to shrink it. Once the martial skill is reduced in size, the energy of the martial skill is more condensed, and the power of the martial skill is also greatly enhanced. It's just that the degree of difficulty is indescribable. If his perception was correct, this Azure Flame Sacred Palm should be an early Xian 1 rank martial skill, and it would be too difficult to shrink it. He didn't understand how Bailey Hongzhuang actually did it. Not only Nangong Aochen, but also the cultivators who were watching were in shock. This technique is really amazing. Xia Jiqing and the others were stunned. It seems that what they learned before was not Hongzhuang's true strength. No wonder Hongzhuang was only slightly injured while Nangong Xiujia was injured like that. If Hongzhuang had used this trick at the beginning, Nangong Shoujie would have had no choice but to die. Apparently, there were quite a few people who figured this out. Gradually, many people changed their opinions about Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang was merciful to Nangong Shoujie previously, but now Nangong Ouchen wants to kill Bailey Hongzhuang. Comparing the two, everyone can't help but feel that the royal family is too narrow-minded, but they dare not say this. How did you do it? Nangong Ouchen couldn't help but ask out loud. If this technique was used in battle, the explosive combat power would be improved by more than a little. Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled softly, and a hint of mockery appeared in her eyes, which were as quiet as a deep pool. Why should I tell you? Nangong Ouchen was probably accustomed to being revered. Even asked this question was asked with a condescending tone. Others care about the identity of His Highness the Crown Prince, but she doesn't care at all. Hearing this, Nangong Ouchen's expression changed a bit. At this moment he didn't want to kill Bailey Hongzhuang anymore. This woman had mastered such a magical technique. If she were kidnapped by the royal family so that he could learn the technique from her, it would be a great help to him. It's just that it's a pity that the emperor's order is hard to refuse. As Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Ouchen were confronting each other, Baisher rushed towards the flame lion like lightning. It's unforgivable that this bullshit lion is showing off in front of everyone, and he, the majestic beast king, is ridiculed by everyone as a useless little one. The flame lion has always been pampered by the royal family. Although it has an unspeakable fear of the white lion in its bones, it has followed its arrogant master for a long time, and it really regards itself as a hero. It went to kill the white lion also. When everyone saw the white lion attacking the much stronger flame lion, they all felt it was ridiculous. This little guy was just as helpless as its owner. However, in the next moment an amazing spectacle occurred. Roar! Baisher roared, and the attitude of the flame lion changed slightly. The moment the two monster beasts pounced, Baisher's movements were as fast as lightning, and it leaped to bite the flame lion's throat with the speed of a violent storm. If you dare to challenge the king of beasts, prepare to pay the price. Two figures, one red and one white, crossed and blood sprayed in midair. When everyone could see clearly, the flame lion had already fallen to the ground whining. Where was its previous majesty? TL/N1 The Xian realm is the realm before the innate realm which Bailey is currently in. See my list here for the current rankings. http://stall translations. com/cultivation levels bewitching prince spoils. His wife / Chapter 857 Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor Unscrupulous Consort Beast, how dare you? The audience was silent. Everyone stared dumbfounded at this scene. Isn't this too unbelievable? The majestic and prestigious flame lion was bitten on the throat by the little white beast in a face-to-face fight? What species is this little white beast? Haha, what kind of lame flame lion is this? Everyone praises this level of combat power. It's laughable, right? Xia Jiqing couldn't help laughing. Everyone praised the flame lion earlier. Nangong Ouchen also regarded the flame lion as a treasure. Yet it was defeated so easily. The royal family spent so much money and effort to cultivate such a useless beast? However, when Xia Jiqing chuckled, Gong Shaoqing and the others did not smile, and their eyes fell on Baisher. It seems that they had underestimated Baisher. I knew that it was absolutely impossible for Hongzhuang's contracted beast to be an ornamental beast. Cui Haoyan sighed, still feeling unspeakably shocked. When they first found out that Bailey Hongzhuang had contracted such a beast, they felt it was unbelievable. After all, Bailey Hongzhuang had never been an ostentatious person. This kind of ornamental beast is the type that some officials who are not strong in combat like to keep in captivity, but as a cultivator, this kind of beast is a hindrance. All the previous confusion was immediately cleared up after seeing Baisher make a move. This white lion is simply pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger one. The contract beast is like its master. The fighting power of this white lion is as perverted as its owner. Bai Junyu shook his head speechlessly. Fortunately, he and Bailey Hongzhuang were teammates. Otherwise it would be terrible to offend such an opponent. Gong Shaoqing took a deep breath and calmed down the shock in his heart. The flame lion has the strength of 5th level of the red realm. which proves that the cute little beast that had always been inconspicuous also has at least the strength of 5th level of the Red Realm. Bailey Hongzhuang is really extraordinary. Nan Gongyue and the others were stupefied. They knew how strong the Flame Lion was. A true 5th level Red Realm cultivator, even stronger than ordinary 5th level Red Realm cultivators. However, after this one face-to-face charge, the Flame Lion was half dead. What kind of contract beast did Bailey Hongzhuang have? After Nangong Ouchen saw the Flame Lion lying on the ground, his face instantly turned livid. He had contracted the Flame Lion when he was very young, and the Flame Lion had grown up with him. In his heart, the Flame Lion occupied a very important place, and he even regarded the Flame Lion as a relative. Bai Shi chewed on the Flame Lion's flesh and swallowed it in one gulp, enjoying everyone's attention. Now, everyone should know the ability of Bai Shi. The next moment, Bai Shi leapt towards the Flame Lion again. The meat of the Flame Lion was not bad. When the Flame Lion saw Bai Shi attacking again, there was a trace of panic in its eyes. It was no match for the White Lion at all. Seeing the actions of the White Lion, Nangong Ouchen was about to burst into tears. "You beast, how dare you!" However, Bai Shi ignored Nangong Ouchen's words, leapt up, opened its mouth wide to reveal sharp teeth, and bit the neck of the Flame Lion again. Nangong Ouchen's eyes flashed wisps of blood. The Heavenly Devil's palm immediately attacked Bai Shi. "Your opponent is me." However, just when Nangong Ouchen was about to attack Bai Shi, Bailey Hongzhuang had already blocked Nangong Ouchen. "Your opponent is me." Compared to Nangong Ouchen's face full of anger, Bailey Hongzhuang looked very indifferent. For such snobs, they need to learn that there is always someone more talented than oneself. Go to hell. Nangong Ouchen could no longer control his emotions, and he used the Heavenly Devil's palm to attack Bailey Hongzhuang without hesitation. At the same time, Bailey Hongzhuang's mind moved the Azure Flame Sacred Palm forward to meet it. Just after the two attacks collided, Bai Shi had successfully bitten through the Flame Lion's neck. He has no difficulty in beheading whomever he wants. Nangong Oui's eyes were seething with anger, but as the Emperor of Qingshao Kingdom he couldn't show it. This Bailey Hongzhuang must die. Boom! The two attacks collided abruptly to the horrified eyes of the crowd. At the moment of impact, a terrifying thunderous sound like 9 days of thunder erupted. Ripples of primordial force visible to the naked eye spread out, covering the sky and the sun, darkening the entire sky. At the moment these two attacks erupted, protective shields around the arena instantly activated, and a layer of light golden protective shields covered the entire arena to prevent energy leakage from affecting the cultivators in the stands. The Yuanli storm swept across the protective cover, but no one could see the situation inside the protective shields, and no one knew what the result was. Outside the protective cover, Bai Shi looked inside the protective shielding with the Flame Lion's head in its mouth. As the collision erupted, the master had asked it leave the arena. After all, it would only be affected if it stayed inside with such energy. Although the scope of this martial arts arena is not small, it was still somewhat dwarfed by the energy collision between Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Ouchen. However, when everyone saw Bai Shi holding head of the Flame Lion, they all felt ridiculed. And the person who had said that it would be good enough if the White Lion could survive a single move against the Flame Lion, kept silent, just hoping that everyone would not remember what he had said. Nangong Oui's hands were pressed firmly on his knees, his calm face reflecting the majesty of the emperor, but everyone knew that Nangong Oui was in a bad mood. Huan Qiyu and the other people's eyes were glued to the competition arena. The battle was so explosive that they couldn't even make a judgment. A look of worry appeared in everyone's eyes, and no one knew whose combat power was stronger in this collision. Logically speaking, Nangong Ouchen had the upper hand, but Bailey Hongzhuang's sudden compression of the Azure Flame Sacred Palm surprised everyone. So it was impossible to judge the power of the compressed Azure Flame Sacred Palm. Hongzhuang should be okay, right? Xia Jiqing clasped her hands together, her eyes fixed on the competition platform. The scale of energy was a bit frightening. If she was in such an energy storm, it would be very difficult to survive. I believe Hongzhuang will be fine. Zhang Yunfeng said in a solemnly. She believed in Hongzhuang's strength. Although Nangong Aochen's strength was very strong, as far as Bailey Hongzhuang's combat effectiveness was concerned, even if she lost the battle, it would not be life-threatening. Everyone was silent. They could only wait for the energy storm to dissipate to find out the results. Endless consequences after the energy storm dissipated, the protective shields gradually receded, and the situation in the competition arena was revealed to everyone. It's just that when everyone saw the situation in the competition arena, they couldn't help but gasp. The competition arena that was built with extremely hard stone had a huge hole in it. The area surrounding the hole was also covered with dense cracks, showing the huge destructive power caused by these two attacks. Nangong Aochen's light yellow clothing was stained with blood, and the luxurious brocade robe was also slightly torn. The jade crown was tilted slightly, and his hair was a little messy and disordered. His hands trembled slightly, and the expression on his face was extremely ugly. When the people of Qingshao Kingdom saw Nangong Aochen's appearance, their faces were incredulous. They had never seen Nangong Aochen in such a wretched state. Usually, in normal battles, Nangong Aochen crushed his opponent with overwhelming strength. But now, Nangong Aochen has reached this state at the hands of a cultivator who is 2 levels weaker, which is too shocking. Everyone turned their gazes towards Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang's condition was also very bad. Blood flowers bloomed on her white dress, and a bloody smell quietly permeated the air. 3,000 black hairs uncoiled and came loose, her pretty face was a little pale, and Hongzhuang's loose black hair flowed down, seemingly creating a sense of wonder and poignancy. Bailey Hongzhuang's left rib seeped blood slowly, but her expression did not change at all. Nangong Aochen looked at Bailey Hongzhuang and his mood shifted. Previously, he only knew that Bailey Hongzhuang's strength was good, but he never really regarded Bailey Hongzhuang as an opponent. But at this moment he understood Bailey Hongzhuang's true strength and felt how terrifying she was. She made him fall into this condition with her cultivation at the 3rd level of the Red Realm. If Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation base reached the 5th level of the Red Realm, he was afraid that the one who would be crushed would be him. Thinking of this, the killing intent in Nangong Aochen's heart grew stronger. As a child of the royal family, he clearly understood how terrifying an opponent like Bailey Hongzhuang would be when she grew up. If she were not an opponent, it would have been fine. But since Bailey Hongzhuang was already at war with him, then he absolutely could not let Bailey Hongzhuang walk off the competition arena alive today. Otherwise, there will be endless consequences. Now, everyone held their breath and no longer dared to mock Bailey Hongzhuang again. Because, with her actions, Bailey Hongzhuang had already demonstrated her ability to be able to achieve such a result against Nangong Aochen in a leapfrog battle. This is a well-deserved combat genius. Gong Xiaoqing and the others were shocked that Bailey Hongzhuang's strength had reached this level. Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi looked at each other. They were flabbergasted by the appearance of a pervert like Bailey Hongzhuang at Kenglin Academy. How could this Bailey Hongzhuang have such terrifying achievements in every area at such a young age? Nangong Aochen's gaze fell on Bailey Hongzhuang. I admit, your strength is very strong, but your cultivation base is your flaw. I may not be your opponent over time, but at least for now, you still can't beat me. Nangong Aochen's expression was ferocious. He wanted to totally strangle Bailey Hongzhuang. If you have the ability, bring it on. When Nangong Aochen acknowledged Bailey Hongzhuang's strength, proving her excellence, the amazement in the crowd's eyes grew. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Nangong Aochen coldly. This guy's strength was indeed not weak. Talk is cheap. Nangong Aochen sneered. You have been seriously injured. Cannot be my opponent. Bailey Hongzhuang's ribs were broken, and if she continued to fight, she couldn't fight in his level. But Bailey Hongzhuang didn't want to admit it. If you have the ability, bring it on. As Bailey Hongzhuang's words fell, countless shocked gazes condensed on her body. In these circumstances, Bailey Hongzhuang actually wants to continue fighting? If she isn't careful, Bailey Hongzhuang will leave her life on the stage. There was a hint of ridicule in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. Nangong Aochen thought he had the upper hand, but his internal organs should be burning uncomfortably. Xia Jiqing couldn't help but look at Lu Huayan. Instructor Lu, can Hongzhuang continue to fight in this condition? Lu Huayan's expression was also a little complicated, but according to the rules of this final, as long as the students in the competition don't admit defeat, they can't stop this competition. I believe that Bailey Hongzhuang knows what she's doing, Lu Huayan said slowly. Xia Jiqing also fell silent. She was worried about Bailey Hongzhuang's well-being, but she also knew that the probability of Bailey Hongzhuang admitting defeat was very small. Although Nangong Aochen is usually regarded as a righteous person, when the dignity of the royal family is challenged, this guy does not retain his righteousness. In her opinion, this group of people from Qingshao Kingdom's royal family all fully deserve to be called villains. Bai Shi dropped the flame lion's head and immediately stepped into the arena. The flame lion's head rolled to the bottom of the stands where Nangong Oui was seated. Although this was an unintentional action by Bai Shi, in the eyes of everyone, this made a mockery of Nangong Oui. Nangong Oui's gaze rested on the flame lion's head for a moment. His expression did not change, but in a blink the members of the royal family around him stood up. The little white beast has already left the arena, which proves that it is no longer qualified to continue fighting. To be a fair competition, the little white beast can no longer compete. Following this comment from the royal family members, the crowd looked at each other in dismay. Usually, this rule only applies to cultivators and is not binding for contracted beasts. In many cases, contracted beasts will continue to fight. However, one is not allowed to say that it is unreasonable for the royal family to bring out this rule at this moment. The royal family of the Qingshao Kingdom is too shameless. There was a trace of anger on Bai Junyu's face. Originally, as long as Bai Shi competed, given Bai Shi's strength, the chance of winning this competition was almost guaranteed. Who would have thought that the royal family would come up with such a rule? This is really the ultimate in shamelessness. I wondered why Lingyan Academy won first place in the past few academy exchange competitions. Turns out that it relies on being shameless. Zhang Yunfeng's voice was cold. Originally, she still had some respect for Qingshao Kingdom's royal family, but now it seems they are simply shameless people in luxurious clothes. Too much deception. The people of Qingshao Kingdom also fell silent at that moment. Although they knew that Qingshao Kingdom's actions were a bit excessive, because the emperor was here, they didn't dare say anything unless they wanted to lose their lives. Huan Qiyu frowned slightly and said, "The contracted beasts battle has never been restricted by location. This type of argument is a little unreasonable. Usually, when there are contracted beasts participating in the competition, because the cultivators' battle encompasses quite a wide range, in order to affect the cultivators as little as possible, the battle of beasts appearing outside the competition arena is a common occurrence." After Jian Qingqiu noticed the expressions from the royal family members, he understood that no matter what, Nangong Aochen must win this battle. As the crown prince of Qingshao Kingdom, Nangong Aochen's identity is different from ordinary cultivators. Today he must win no matter what. Because he represents the position of the crown prince of Qingshao Kingdom. The reason why Nangong Oui let Nangong Aochen compete this time is to let everyone know the strength of Nangong Aochen. If Nangong Aochen fails today, it will do great damage to his reputation. Lingyan Academy is attached to the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom, so Nangong Oui's orders naturally cannot be disobeyed. Jian Qingqiu quickly recovered his dignified expression. Elder Huan, the competition between cultivators is limited to the martial arts arena. Once a cultivator falls outside the martial arts arena, it will be ruled a loss. This is naturally the same for contracted beasts, Jian Qingqiu said slowly, but his gaze was directed at Song Hongxi. Song Hongxi immediately understood, nodded and said, "That's right, what Principal Jian said is reasonable." Huan Qiu's face darkened instantly. These two old guys are too shameless. There has never been such a rule in previous academy exchange meetings. You guys are too deceitful. Huan Qiu stood up. His normally mellow and benevolent face was full of indignant anger. Ever since he came to Lingyin Academy, Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi's dealings have become unbearable. And now Bailey Hongzhuang has fought so hard just for the honor of Kanglin Academy. He had put up with the previous incident, but this matter was related to Bailey Hongzhuang, so he could no longer do nothing. When Huan Qiyu stood up, everyone in the stands was in an uproar. As the vice principal of Kanglin Academy, he had already shown that this competition is unfair, and everyone looked at Nangong Oui in unison. They didn't know how the emperor felt about this. When Xia Jiqing and the others saw Huan Qiyu's protest, they were also excited. At least, it was proof that the vice principal was on the side of his students. Neither Jian Qingqiu nor Song Hongxi thought that Huan Qiyu would suddenly break with them. According to reason, Huan Qiyu could only bear this anger in such a situation. So what happened to Huan Qiyu? Huan Qiyu's eyes burned with anger. After seeing the students of the academy suffer all kinds of blows with one being seriously injured for this so-called academy exchange meeting, he suddenly could not understand what he had been obsessed with all these years. Kanglin Academy existed to train students, and the purpose of the academy exchange competition was just to motivate students' cultivation at the beginning. He didn't know when the academy exchange competition started becoming a battle of interests, sacrificing students only for their tails/n. The academy's honor, what's the point of that? Chapter 862 Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort. A complete break. Instead of participating in this kind of academy exchange competition just for the benefits, it would be better to just give up. Kanglin Academy can exist on its own. What does it matter if there is no comparison? Why should they care so much if they are not affiliated with Lingyin Academy and Beihai Academy? In that instant, Huan Qiyu figured this all out. Everything was for the students, and he would not tolerate these little tricks of Lingyin Academy any longer. Elder Huan, what are you doing? This is an original rule of the academy exchange competition. Jian Qingqiu was a little anxious. He couldn't understand what Huan Qiyu was doing in front of all these people. What rules? It seems as long as the rules are beneficial to Lingyin Academy, then they are the rules. Huan Qiyu's voice was cold. Kanglin Academy had tolerated it again and again only for Lingyin Academy and Beihai Academy to want more. He would no longer be tolerant. As Huan Qiyu's words fell, everyone's expressions changed. The vice principal of Kanglin Academy was really throwing caution to the wind. The vice principal is so domineering. Xia Jiqing's eyes shone with excitement. No matter what the outcome of this academy exchange meeting is, the vice principal is her idol. It was really rare to see a mentor who is not afraid of power, and instead focuses on the interests of the students. A look of excitement flashed across the faces of Bai Junyu and the others. This feeling, it's crazy. However, they feel hot-blooded and impulsive with the vice principal saying this, so what are they afraid of? Elder Huan, what's wrong with you? There are so many people watching now. Jian Qingqiu's complexion changed completely. Although he had long disliked Kanglin Academy, and they had always been at odds with each other, at least on the surface they had never revealed it. However, now that Huan Qiyu is so disrespectful towards him, it is obvious that he intends to completely embarrass him. Huan Qiyu's eyes were cold and his attitude was resolute. What I've said stands. Jian Qingqiu's face became ugly. He didn't expect that the older Huan Qiyu gets, the more insensitive he becomes, openly provoking the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom. This was asking for trouble. Nangong Oui's eyes also changed a bit, coldly looking at Huan Qiyu. In the next moment, members of the royal family quietly stood up behind Huan Qiyu. It was obvious that if Huan Qiyu dared to say a word of dissatisfaction about the battle, the royal family would use coercive means to deal with Huan Qiyu. At the same time, Xia Jiqing and the others were also surrounded by members of the royal family. This was obviously holding them hostage. All of a sudden, everyone's expressions changed. This was a blatant threat from the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom. However, they didn't dare say anything. They didn't expect that the royal family would even use this method to guarantee Nangong Aochen's win. At that moment, even the expressions of the cultivators of Beihai Academy changed. The royal family of Qingshao Kingdom is really terrifying. If they are not careful, they might lose their lives. After all, this is the Qingshao Kingdom's domain. Huan Chuyo's face changed suddenly. He wanted to say something else, but after seeing Xia Jiqing and others being surrounded, he couldn't speak anymore. This is the imperial city of the Qingshao Kingdom, and if the royal family takes action, it will be impossible for them to leave the Qingshao Kingdom. Principal Jian, you really have a good strategy. Huan Chuyo's voice was full of restraint and resentment. When the Qingshao Kingdom's royal family adopted such a tactic, Kanglin Academy's relationship with Lingyin Academy was severed completely. Shameless. After Jian Qingqiu heard Huan Chuyo's words, his face changed a little. This scene was also not within his expectations. However, the royal family had already made a move, so he couldn't say anything more. Song Hongxi's eyes fell on the royal family, and there was a flash of unease in his eyes. The royal family's attitude was a bit too extreme. Although he had always hoped to rely on the power of the royal family to spread the reputation of Kanglin Academy and strengthen their reputation, he never thought that the royal family's attitude would be so harsh. The royal family of the Qingshao Kingdom is too despicable. Xia Jiqing looked at the scene in front of her in disbelief. She never thought that during this academy exchange competition the royal guards would be used. Wasn't this using the Kanglin Academy students as leverage to threaten Hongzhuang? Thinking of this, the anger in Xia Jiqing's eyes disappeared and was replaced with shock and resentment. Now that Hongzhuang is on the high platform, could it be that the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom wants Bailey Hongzhuang to die? No, this absolutely cannot happen. Xia Jiqing's face was full of panic. How could Bailey Hongzhuang be allowed to bear the pressure for all of them? The faces of Gong Shaoqing and the others also changed. The royal family of Qingshao Kingdom is too heartless. How can they bear this? Could it be that the royal family of the Qingshao Kingdom intends to hide the truth? Gong Shaoqing's eyes were burning with anger. This was total blackmail. In a flash, the atmosphere of the entire royal arena changed. This is the means of the royal family of a great country. Wanting to challenge the dignity of the Qingshao Kingdom's royal family here is simply impossible. It's just a few students from Kanglin Academy. As long as the royal family wants it, they can completely obliterate them, and at the same time suppress the news. At this moment, everyone sympathized with the cultivators of Kanglin Academy. Sometimes it is a mistake to be too outstanding. A small wave of fluctuation swept through Mo Yunjua's eyes, and at the same time, his gaze quietly looked at a man not far away. After noticing Mo Yunjua's gaze, the man immediately understood, and quietly left the royal arena, unnoticed. Nangongui had ordered the sealing off of the entire royal arena when the royal guards held Huan Qiyu and others hostage, but this type of blockade was obviously not a problem for this person. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the series of changes around her, and an icy look appeared in her eyes. The royal family of the Qingshao Kingdom is really shameless. Bailey Hongzhuang sneered, but her mind was racing. She has now become an intolerable presence for the royal family of the Qingshao Kingdom. If she puts up a fight, the entire Kanglin Academy will be under the control of the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom. Nangongui wanted to use this method to force her to submit, but she would not fall for such a trap. She understood the methods of the royal family very well. Even if she died in this competition arena today, Nangongui would not let the people of Kanglin Academy leave. Bailey Hongzhuang can conclude that the result will be that everyone will die here. No one will be able to return to Kanglin Academy alive. That is what is so disgusting about the royal family. In the next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes fell on Nangong Aochen. Now there is only one way left. Holding Nangong Aochen hostage. With Nangong Aochen's status in Qingshao Kingdom, as long as she holds Nangong Aochen hostage, they may have the possibility of leaving. Chapter 864, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Dr. Unscrupulous Consort Hongzhuang, good job. This hateful royal family. I must end this Qingshao Kingdom royal family afterwards. Xiao He was so angry that he couldn't control himself. The royal family of the Qingshao kingdom was able to be shameless to this extent, not hesitating to use such a method to persecute a student. There was no dignity won in this royal family. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't lose her composure because of this. The situation can only be resolved if she calms down. Xiao He, Xiao Bai, I will pretend to fight later. But in my condition it will be difficult to subdue Nangong Aochen. You two must remember to create a storm. We will hold Nangong Aochen hostage as quickly as possible. Listening to this, Xiao He and Xiao Bai nodded repeatedly. They understood the seriousness of the current situation. They must hit it with one blow, otherwise their situation could become extremely dangerous. With their strength, it shouldn't be difficult to take their master away, but if they put the entire Kanglin Academy team in danger, they feared their master would blame herself. Therefore, they cannot let their master feel such sorrow. After Nangong Aochen heard the sarcasm from Bailey Hongzhuang, his face revealed some ugliness. In fact, he originally wanted to end his battle with Bailey Hongzhuang in a devastating manner. Only, he didn't expect Bailey Hongzhuang's combat effectiveness to be so strong that he even suffered serious injuries. This was a disgrace. The royal family simply could not tolerate such a failure, so the royal father took action. Nangong Aochen quickly recovered from his previous frustration. No matter what, history is written by the winner. Bailey Hongzhuang and others are just a stepping stone for him. He absolutely would not care. When you dare to insult the dignity of the royal family, you should be prepared to bear the consequences. Nangong Aochen looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with an icy expression, a mere academy cultivator. Compared to the royal family, her power is too weak. Ordinary people cannot afford to offend members of the royal family, but unfortunately Bailey Hongzhuang understood this too late. He hopes she will not make the same mistake when she reincarnates in her next life. Hearing Nangong Aochen's words, the mockery in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes intensified. Isn't it just a royal family? You really think you're so great? Just based on your appearance, I am sure that the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom will be destroyed sooner or later. With Bailey Hongzhuang's words, the crowd gasped in a cold breath of air. This Bailey Hongzhuang really has a death wish. Bailey Hongzhuang dares to say such things. Isn't this suicide? However, right after Bailey Hongzhuang said this, there was a burst of applause. Everyone looked at the source of the sound, and saw that all the students of Kanglin Academy, including Huan Qiyu, were applauding. Xia Jiqing and the others had determined expressions on their faces. Since they began embarking on the path of the cultivator, they were prepared to lose their lives. The strength of Qingshao Kingdom's royal family has exceeded their expectations, but they are not cowards, and they will not let Bailey Hongzhuang risk everything alone. People will inevitably die, either for a serious matter, or for something unimportant. They can already guess the end result, so in that case why not be bold? They will die anyway, so they will naturally not make it easy for the Qingshao Kingdom's royal family. Hongzhuang, great job, Xia Jiqing said with a smile. Chapter 865 Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort, to hell with everything. What a shitty royal family and shitty prince. Let them go to hell. Bai Junyu shouted. Cui Haoyan had an expression that showed he had nothing to lose. His name one was originally saved by Bailey Hongzhuang. Being able to live so much longer is already enough. The mood of the crowd also gradually changed when they saw the cultivators of Kanglin Academy so united. It must be said that the response of the Kanglin Academy students is really contagious. Even they feel that the royal family has gone too far. Xiao Lanmei's eyes swept over everyone in Kanglin Academy. Perhaps the previous events did not show the extent of the cohesiveness of Kanglin Academy. However, when this crisis broke out, this was completely revealed. He believed that if this scenario occurred in Beihai Academy, the students of Beihai Academy would definitely let Bailey Hongzhuang die in exchange for the possibility of survival. This is the gap between the students of the two academies. After seeing the attitude of Xia Jiqing and the others, a faint smile appeared in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. It is precisely because of this group of companions that she must fight as hard as she could. In the next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes fell on Nangong Aochen. As you said, Bai Shi cannot participate in the battle. Let's continue our competition. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's indomitable look, a ripple appeared in Nangong Aochen's eyes, but the White Lion's inability to participate in the battle was exactly what he wanted. With his current strength he can still deal with Bailey Hongzhuang, but against the Red Realm 5th level White Lion, he cannot do anything. I admire your courage, let's start. Nangong Aochen said with a faint smile. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes narrowed slightly, and her figure flew directly towards Nangong Aochen. The Yuan energy in her body surged out, and her martial arts skills immediately became unspeakable. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded as Xiao He and Xiao Bai cooperated seamlessly to create the explosion. This kind of thing was very simple for the two of them, who fear the world would not be chaotic too. The crowd saw the smoke-filled sky, and did not understand what happened in that short period of time. It stands to reason that in such a short period of time, even if Bailey Hongzhuang played her best, it would not be possible to cause such fluctuations immediately. What's going on here? Bailey Hongzhuang still has such strength? The scene just now happened too fast that I don't know what happened. No matter what Bailey Hongzhuang does, it's useless. The people of Kanglin Academy will definitely die. The crowd was no longer worried about the final result, because this ending was already predetermined. Only Mo Yunjue, who was in the stands, saw Bailey Hongzhuang's actions, and a look of appreciation flashed in his eyes. The situation erupted too quickly. Even he hadn't clearly seen how Bailey Hongzhuang caused this fluctuation. However, he understood that Bailey Hongzhuang had only one purpose for causing such fluctuations: to hold Nangong Aochen hostage. This was the only way out of the current situation. Only by holding Nangong Aochen hostage could there be a glimmer of life. This woman, even in such a dangerous situation, remained indifferent even when facing humiliation, which is really an amazing psychological quality. Nangong Aochen only felt the smoke and dust blocking his vision. When he reacted, he felt a cold touch on his neck. You're tuning into the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.